Chapter 178. As proud and arrogant as he was, he let go of Baya's wrist, turned around and disappeared from her sight. Baya closed the door. The world was peaceful. She got what she wanted. However, what was the reason for the overwhelming sense of loss, sadness, and regret in her heart? Baya didn't go for lunch. She simply didn't want to go. She didn't want to see Gu Lingqing to avoid being embarrassed. She made a bowl of noodles and ate a few mouthfuls. The noodles were too hard and her stomach felt uncomfortable. She wanted to go out and buy some fruits. She opened the door and saw Leng Qiuzuan outside. He looked like he was about to knock on the door. "What's wrong?" Baya asked. They caught Wang Donner and brought her witnesses back. One is her partner, and the other is the cameraman. I suspect that their testimonies were matched. They both said that they were filming when the crime happened, Leng Qiuzuan said seriously. "Where is the footage?" Baya asked. "I'll send it to your computer. Go to the station to interrogate Wang Donner at 2 in the afternoon. Take a look and see if there's any weak point that can break through Wang Donner's psychological defense." "Have you seen it?" Baya asked directly. Leng Qiuzuan's face was strangely red. "Is it before or after the editing?" "After the editing. Send me a copy of the edited footage and send it to my email. I'll go out to buy some fruits and come back to watch it. I'll go to the station with you at 2 in the afternoon," Baya said straightforwardly. "What fruits do you want to buy?" "I'll get someone to buy them for you," Leng Qiuzuan said with twinkling eyes. "There's a fruit stall not far from here. I'll go there myself." Baya rejected his kindness. Leng Qiuzuan felt even more uncomfortable. "Then help me buy some apples and pears. Mangosteen would be best. I like to eat mangosteen." "Baya," Leng Qiuzuan said and wanted to leave. Baya did not argue with him. The case was about to be solved. How many more days could they spend together? Just muddle along. She went to the fruit stand and bought apples, pears, mangosteens, oranges, and bananas for a total of 96 yuan. When she rummaged through her purse, she took out a 100 yuan bill. Baya looked up and saw Gu Lingqing. She was slightly surprised. "You're here to buy fruits too?" Gu Lingqing didn't even look at her in the eye and said in a low voice, "I originally wanted to buy some for you, but I just happened to meet you here. Have you had lunch?" "I don't have much appetite. I don't feel like eating," Baya said. Gu Lingqing took all the fruits and looked at Baya. He was too strong. Standing in front of her, he was like an iron wall. Baya felt uneasy. Some of them belonged to Leng Qiuzuan. Gu Lingqing ignored her and walked towards the door. Baya followed behind him. Gu Lingqing strode towards the elevator. He didn't say anything. She didn't want to talk to him either. She walked to the deepest part of the elevator. "Baya," Gu Lingqing shouted. Baya looked at him. Her eyes met his deep gaze. She didn't know what he wanted to say. "There are some things that you want to watch with me," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. "There are some things that you're talking about. Don't tell me it's a video taken by Wang Donner?" Baya guessed. "It's impossible to find any problems with those finished products. I want the ones that haven't been edited. Focus on the bystanders," Gu Lingqing reminded him. He had the same thought as her. However, she didn't really want to watch it with him when she thought about what happened when they watched it together. "Leng Qiuzuan has already emailed me the ones that haven't been edited," Baya looked down and said. Let's go to your room then," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baya, her original intention was to reject him in a roundabout way. She didn't expect him to climb up the ladder. "I want to watch it alone," Baya said straightforwardly. Gu Lingqing's face darkened. He stared at her unhappily and said in an irrefutable tone, "You have the right to make a request. However, it's rejected. I'm not your subordinate. I don't need to apply to you." "Rejected," Gu Lingqing emphasized. Baya frowned and was annoyed. "I think I've already made it very clear to you." "What did you make clear?" Gu Lingqing asked. Baya saw that he seemed to have forgotten everything. "Well, I don't love you anymore." There was a ding. The elevator door opened. Gu Lingqing strode out of the elevator. Baya jogged behind him. "If it's not necessary, I don't think we can continue to be in a relationship." Gu Lingqing pursed his lips. He took the room card to open his door and placed the fruits on the dining table. Baya stood at the door and glanced at the fruits. She didn't know whether to enter or not. Gu Lingqing pulled his tie and unbuttoned his neck. He looked back at her and frowned. You don't dare to come in? Or are you afraid that I'm a poisonous snake or a beast that will eat you? Baya was a little dazed. Gu Lingqing had said this to her before. The truth was that he was even more terrifying than a poisonous snake or a beast. She passed by his room and didn't want to go in. Gu Lingqing had no choice but to rush out. He held her hand and pulled her into the room. He slammed the door. Baya pulled her hand out and turned to walk towards the door. Gu Lingqing strode forward and pushed the door, trapping her between the door and him. Do you have to make me angry? Gu Lingqing said unhappily. Now you're the one who made me angry. Baya said even more unhappily. How did I make you angry? Gu Lingqing asked in return. Baya was speechless. I wanted to leave, but you didn't let me. I wanted to watch it alone, but you insisted on watching it with me. Isn't this making me angry? I didn't let you leave and insisted on watching it with you. Don't you know why? Gu Lingqing retorted confidently. Baya's heart trembled. She looked into his deep eyes. He put his arm around her waist and pulled her to his side. Their bodies were pressed together. Baya's back stiffened. She pushed his shoulder. There are many women you want to find. Don't look for me. I don't want to. There are many women, but I don't like many women. I like to talk about love first, then do a. Gu Lingqing turned around and pressed Baya down on his bed. When you had sex with me for the first time, were you in love? Baya was furious. His body was too hot. It was so hot that it was about to melt her. She didn't like to be infatuated with him anymore. Gu Lingqing looked at her deeply. When he saw her 3 years ago, he had a special feeling. When he saw her on the plane, it was as if he had found the person he had always been looking for. He wouldn't have sex with anyone casually. If he had to count, she was the only one. I think he must have never forgotten you. That's why he made me dream of you, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baya could tell that he was talking about the Gu Lingqing in the past. The Gu Lingqing that she loved. Chapter 179. You've forgotten everything. You don't know anything. You think you haven't forgotten, but it's just your speculation, Baya frowned and said. Her voice was choked with sobs. Gu Lingqing looked at him deeply. Her tearful face was reflected in his dark eyes. He didn't know what happened between them in the past, and he didn't know why she rejected him so much and firmly believed that he didn't like her. But he knew how he felt now. He felt heartache when he saw her crying. The pain was very real. She said she wanted to give up on him, and he felt heartache too. Gu Lingqing lowered his head and kissed the tears on her face. It was salty and bitter. He said domineeringly, Then I'll know that I won't let you go before I recover my memory. You're wasting our time. Baya pushed him. Gu Lingqing held her hand. You don't have a boyfriend anyway, right? Although she said that, she knew that she was afraid that she would fall again. Knock knock knock. There was a knock on the door. Baya looked at the door defensively. What's the matter? Gu Lingqing asked. It's me, Xiao Wang. Mr. Leng wants to see you. He has something to discuss, Xiao Wang said. Hurry up, or else Leng Qiuzuan will be here soon, Baya reminded him. Gu Lingqing let go of Baya, stood up, and opened the video file on the computer. He looked at her and said, I'll be back soon. You watch it first. Okay, Baya answered. Gu Lingqing went out. She watched him leave. It wasn't appropriate for her to stay in his house, so she picked up the fruits and walked to her room. Leng Qiuzuan's room. The case is about to be solved. Did you ask the higher-ups to order us not to interfere? Leng Qiuzuan said bluntly. This case involves too many people, so we'll take over. Leng Qiuzuan can rest early. Isn't that good? Gu Lingqing said indifferently. Every profession has its own specialization. Mr. Gu, don't you think you're overstepping your authority? Just because the murderer and the victim are both from the military, you can treat human lives like grass. I think we should give the victim's family an explanation, Leng Qiuzuan said fiercely. Gu Lingqing smiled and sat down on the sofa. Mr. Leng, what do you mean by explanation? Let the families of the deceased know how their children died. Lung Chiozuan said coldly. You know how he died? Then, they would seek revenge on the murderer. The problem was the murderer had already been killed. For the parents of the deceased, where was the revenge? Their child had been dead for 25 years. Now, their hair was white, and the pain of the past had been erased with time by another child. Perhaps because they did not know the situation of their own child, they still had hope in their hearts, hoping that their child could live a good life. True. Reality doesn't help them at all, Gu Lingqing said calmly. So, you just want to drown out the truth? Lung Chiozuan didn't agree. The truth has already been found out. There's no such thing as drowning out the truth. We just need to choose a better way to express it. For example, we can make up for it with money or career. This is just because you want to protect the reputation of the military. Don't make it sound so nice. Mr. Gu is just a hypocritical and cunning villain, Lung Chiozuan said fiercely. 25 years ago, these three people hadn't joined the military yet. I just want to know, after they joined the military, they didn't do anything bad. I'm not wrong to protect the honor of the military. If the military is not trusted, and the boss has a rebellious attitude, do you think it's helpful to maintain peace? Is it? Besides, once this kind of news spreads abroad, do you think it's helpful to our country? Maybe I don't do things openly, and in the eyes of others, I'm a cunning villain. However, in front of the honor and interests of our country, my personal sacrifice is nothing. Mr. Lung, if there's nothing else, I have to go back to work on the case. Gu Lingqing stood up. You're so dignified. Does Bai Ye know about it? Do you think she'll agree with what you're doing? Lung Chiozuan said coldly. I don't need other people to agree with what I do, Gu Lingqing said arrogantly. He opened the door and went back to his room. Bai Ye was gone. He made a call to Bai Ye. Bai Ye was eating an apple in her room, browsing through the information before the video was cut. She picked up her phone and glanced at it. It was Gu Lingqing's call. She didn't want to answer it, so she put the phone on silent mode and put it beside her. The door was opened. Gu Lingqing walked in. Bai Ye, where did he get the room card? Why didn't you answer the phone? Gu Lingqing said. He closed the door and walked towards her. The phone was right beside her. How could she say she didn't hear it? I saw a key content, so I didn't answer it, Bai Ye explained. She bit her apple and looked at the computer. What key content? Tell me. Gu Lingqing sat beside her quietly. He didn't say a word about why she left his room. Bai Ye definitely wouldn't bring it up. Look, there are quite a lot of people here. I suggest we interrogate them one by one. As long as one of them isn't mentally strong, he can break through immediately, Bai Ye suggested. Okay, Gu Lingqing answered. He didn't say anything else. Bai Ye could only continue watching. She had watched such videos before. Lu Shuang always dragged her to watch them together. One of the videos left a deep impression on her. It was a man who made a woman come 4 or 5 times in 5 minutes. She thought it was amazing, because the woman's thing was especially obvious when it came. She looked at the videos before they cut and realized that they were all cut. After the woman did it for the first time, she would let him rest for a while before continuing. However, the rest in the middle was all removed. No wonder. So it was all fake. However, no matter how fake it was, it still made people blush. Moreover, there was Gu Lingqing sitting beside her. She felt his gaze on her. She turned her head and looked at Gu Lingqing. He was indeed looking at her. She didn't know how long he had been looking at her. Why are you looking at me? Watch the video, Gu Lingqing reminded her. Bai Ye, if you don't look at me, how do you know I'm looking at you? Bai Ye replied. I've already seen the problem. I don't know if you've seen it or not, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. If you've seen it, why didn't you say anything? Bai Ye was speechless. You're a professional. I just want to see what your ability is. My specialty is psychological research. I'm not watching videos. Bai Ye closed the computer. Since you've seen it, tell me, Chief Gu. Chapter 180. Bai Ye watched as he collapsed on her bed. It wouldn't be good if someone saw this. Go back to your place and sleep. Gu Lingqing ignored her and didn't even open his eyes. Baya couldn't do anything to him. Seeing him sleeping peacefully, she thought he was quiet. When she was about to turn on the computer to continue her research, Leng Qiuzuan's voice came from outside the door. "Open the door." Baya furrowed her brows. If Leng Qiuzuan saw Gu Lingqing, she wouldn't be able to clear her name even if she jumped into the Yellow River. "Gu Lingqing, get up and hide for a while." Gu Lingqing lay on the bed and didn't respond. "Gu Lingqing." Baya pushed him forcefully. Gu Lingqing held her hand and pulled it into his arms. He turned over and pressed her under his body, kissing her lips. "Baya, I know you're inside. Hurry up and open the door. I have something to talk to you about, Baya." Leng Qiuzuan knocked on the door more and more hurriedly. Baya looked at the door worriedly. She was anxious, but her lips were blocked by him and she couldn't make a sound. She was afraid that Leng Qiuzuan would do the same and ask the room attendant to open the door. If that happened, she would be finished. She looked at Gu Lingqing with a pleading look. He finally let go of her and met her resentful eyes. "Ignore him. You've been recruited." "Gu Lingqing, can you stop fooling around? Leng Qiuzuan is my team leader and also my direct leader. You're making things difficult for me. This case has been taken over by the military. I've talked to the central government, and now I'm in charge," Gu Lingqing explained. He let go of her and sat up. "Does this mean that I can get off work and go home?" Baya also sat up. "You're not from the police station." It was the police station who went to the Psychology Research Institute to ask for help. Similarly, the military can also go to the Psychology Research Institute to ask for help. Therefore, your direct leader is no longer Leng Qiuzuan, but me, Gu Lingqing said patiently and walked towards the door. Baya understood and hurriedly went forward to hug Gu Lingqing. "Don't open the door." "Hide, I'll open it." "Why should I hide?" "Baya, what are you afraid of? Besides, Su Shaoling and I have already broken off our engagement. I am single now." Gu Lingqing looked down at her and said. Baya looked at him in a daze. "You broke off the engagement with Su Shaoling? 3 years ago, my memory of her was that of a younger sister. I really can't accept a younger sister becoming a fiancée. Therefore, I don't even have a younger sister relationship with her now," Gu Lingqing explained and observed the changes in Baya's expression. Su Jing agreed? Baya didn't believe it. He has no choice but to agree. Su Shaoling has been hanging around some female clubs in recent years and has had sex with more than 5 male prostitutes. If this scandal is exposed, Su Zheng's presidential election will definitely be ruined. Not to mention the presidency, even the position of vice president will be in danger. Now that Su Shaoling has brought it up, the Su family won't object, Gu Lingqing said with certainty. "You know about Su Shaoling's matter?" Baya was too shocked. She had even hinted to him before. It turned out that he knew it better than anyone else. "It doesn't matter about her. I also know about what you've done abroad for the past 3 years, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice and looked at her with a burning gaze. Baya had to admit that it stirred up quite a lot of waves in her heart. Gu Lingqing had been paying attention to her for the past 3 years. Although she was shocked, she had to deal with Leng Qiuzuan first. "Why don't you hide first? I don't want people to gossip about me," Baya said with a pleading tone. "Who dares to gossip about you?" Gu Lingqing said conceitedly. Baya was angry. "Are you going to hide or not?" He stared at her, cleared his throat, and silently went to the bathroom. Baya looked at his back. She didn't even realize that the corner of her mouth was slightly raised. When she opened the door, she happened to hear Leng Qiuzuan saying to the room attendant, "Please open the door. This is my friend's room. I called for her for a long time, but she didn't open the door. I suspect something happened to her." Baya opened the door and blocked the door with her body. "Mr. Leng, what can I do for you? Why don't you open the door? Why is your face so red?" Leng Qiuzuan looked at her face suspiciously. Baya's eyes flickered. She was too guilty. She lowered her head and said, "I'm looking at that. I found something strange. I'll tell you about it later." "No need. I'm here to tell you that we don't need to follow this case anymore. Mr. Gu is in charge of it. I know, but you don't need to follow it. I'm originally from the Psychology Research Institute. Now I'm working with Mr. Gu," Baya explained. Aren't you curious why the military intervened? Leng Qiuzuan frowned. He didn't like Bai Ye's casual attitude. Xiong Jiqing and Xiong Chang'an are both from the special military. Although these things happened before they joined the military, it may cause a bad impact because of the outside world speculation and people with ulterior motives. So, the military will strictly block the news when they take over. Don't you think it's wrong? Leng Qiuzuan said impatiently. I remember in my middle school politics class that the national honor is above the collective interest is above the individual interest, and the national interest is above everything else. All actions that harm the national interest are hostile actions. The military is doing the right thing. But I almost forgot. Mr. Leng, I studied abroad. Bai Ye smiled. Her last sentence was filled with provocation. To me, the truth is above everything else, Leng Qiuzuan said with a pale face. I understand you. Mr. Leng is a very individualistic person. However, we all live in a group. If you are capable and use it well, you will win glory. If you are capable but not used it well, you will have a big side effect. Mr. Leng is a very capable person. I hope there will be a chance in the future. I hope I can solve the case with you in the future. Bai Ye closed the door. Leng Qiuzuan leaned against the door and looked at her. I hope I can solve the case with me in the future. Is it true or not? It's very efficient to solve the case with Mr. Leng. The collective interest is above the individual interest. I mean it, Bai Ye said with a smile. She closed the door slowly and turned around. Gu Lingqing was standing behind her silently. Bai Ye was shocked after she realized what had happened. If Leng Qiuzuan wanted to come in and she let Leng Qiuzuan in, Gu Lingqing would be exposed. Annoyed, she slapped him on the shoulder. Gu Lingqing held her hand and pressed her against the door in a strong and turbulent manner. Bai Ye, I can't satisfy you yet. Is that why you are in the mood to flirt with men? Who's flirting with men? Bai Ye said in a low voice. She was afraid that Leng Qiuzuan was still at the door and could hear their conversation. You should reject Leng Qiuzuan directly. I don't want you to have a chance to work together. He has ambitions for you. If you want to flirt, you should flirt with me, Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. Chapter 181. Bai Ye pushed Gu Lingqing away. Who's flirting with you? Then I'll flirt with you, Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. Bai Ye's heart was beating very fast as she looked at him. He was very serious and cold. Even if it was a sweet talk, he was still very serious. She felt that she must have heard wrongly and wanted to leave his arms. He lowered his head and kissed her lips. He did not give her any chance to reject him. It was forceful and fierce. His hot breath was right beside her ear. She could not think at all. She wanted to push him away, but she did not have the strength. His kiss made it harder and harder for her to breathe. She leaned her head back and he pressed the back of her head. Bai Ye could only breathe with all her might. Gu Lingqing held her hand and pressed it on his abdomen. She could feel his explosive strength through his pants. She wanted to pull her hand out, but he did not allow her to. She was angry and held it tightly. Gu Lingqing groaned and let go of her lips. He looked at her with a burning gaze. Xiao Ye, it's too tight. Bai Ye's heart skipped a beat. She pulled her hand out. Her palm felt like it was burned by a cigarette and it was rubbing against her clothes. I can't breathe. Can't you breathe when you kiss now? You're really stupid, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. It seemed like he was reprimanding her, but his tone was filled with love. She walked towards the table. Gu Lingqing did not want to let her go just like that. He held her arm. Bai Ye said helplessly, I haven't seen anything wrong with the recording. I have to go to the police station at 2. At 6:10 p.m., there are two people chatting. From the movement of their lips, I can tell that they are going to watch the premiere of Sea of Beauties tonight. This is a movie from last year, Gu Lingqing reminded. You already saw it. Why didn't you tell me? Bai Ye rushed to the computer and opened it. There were really two people talking. Are you sure they're talking about this? There's no sound. I can't be wrong if I read his lips, Gu Lingqing said affirmatively. Therefore, the alibi they provided is fake. They are the murderers. I want to break through the witness. Bai Ye already had an idea. Gu Lingqing sat down next to her and looked at her deeply. I don't think you should spend your time on the case, but on me. What do you think? Baiya stood up anxiously. You've already done it yesterday. You used to be a doctor. You should know that men only need to rest for 10 minutes before they can start again, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. You don't have to do that, Baiya said softly. I want it, he said confidently and domineeringly. I still have to work in the afternoon, Baiya refused. Fine. Gu Lingqing stood up and looked at him. Forget it if you don't want to. But actually, many men will be possessed by a second brain. Although I won't be affected, I will still be affected. I hope you won't do anything indecent while you're working. Baiya held his arm. You won't, right? Gu Lingqing smiled. What do you think? Baiya shook his hand off in annoyance. You're not flirting. You're coercing me. Gu Lingqing hugged her waist and pulled her to his side. He lowered his voice. Xiaoya, I want you. Baiya pursed her lips and looked at him. Can I refuse? No, Gu Lingqing said without thinking. But he didn't make a move. He seemed to be waiting for her to agree. Baiya looked at the time on the bottom right corner of the computer. It was 1:20. She was already 27.5 years old. She had passed the age where she liked to dream and fantasize. She started to understand that when a man wanted to have sex with a woman, sex was not necessarily love. Sometimes, it was a kind of conquest. Sometimes, it was a proof. Sometimes, it was a physical need. Gu Lingqing had sex with her yesterday. It was unlikely that he had a physical need. Did he want to conquer, or did he want to prove? Or, because of love? She didn't dare to think about the last possibility. She was afraid to think about it. She was afraid to sink into it. She was afraid that she would never be able to make a comeback. She would just treat it as a chance encounter between a mature man and woman. Hurry up. Baiya agreed. The corners of Gu Lingqing's mouth turned up slightly. He kissed her lips more passionately and pressed her down on the bed. He kissed her neck, earlobe, collarbone, and down. Baiya, your reaction is very good. You like it, don't you? Gu Lingqing asked in a hoarse voice. Who wouldn't like it when you do it like this? Baiya asked in return. I like it too, Gu Lingqing said with a smile. Baiya's heart skipped a few beats. He held her ankle and pressed it down on her face. Baiya could clearly feel that he wanted her. She breathed softly and her face was burning red. His gaze was too hot. She turned her face away in embarrassment. He moved her face so that she was facing him. I used to like it too, right? Lu Shuang said that I often came to look for you and forced him to go out and play mahjong. Baiya didn't expect that Lu Shuang would tell him this. She found it hard to say it. He wanted her to say it, so he was grinding on her. It made her uncomfortable. She frowned and said, Hurry up. Hurry up what? Didn't you say that you don't want it before? He was very interested. He liked how anxious she was. It made him feel that he was needed too. When she said that she wanted him to let her go, he felt very uncomfortable in his heart. He didn't want to be dispensable to her. Gu Lingqing, Baiya said angrily. Her voice was sweet and especially pleasant to the ears. If she could say it out loud, she probably wouldn't be Baiya. Got it? He couldn't help but say it. Both of them let out soft sounds of comfort. Gu Lingqing's heart skipped a beat. He kissed her slightly opened lips and supported her head with his elbows on the bed. After all, he was a soldier. His physique, strength, and speed were super good. Baiya couldn't take it anymore. Her voice was drowned in his mouth. She got excited too. She hugged his waist. Unknown things were running everywhere. Her mind was blank. She slowly stepped on the clouds and floated down. She regained her senses. She focused her eyes and saw Gu Lingqing looking at her. She didn't know how long he looked at her. She was very shy. Her eyes were shining. Why are you looking at me? There's only the two of us here. I don't want to look at you. I want to look at myself? Gu Lingqing replied. You should come down now. It's almost 2 a.m. I still want to take a shower, Baiya said with a red face. Gu Lingqing didn't move. I think it's good to be with you like this for the rest of my life. I'm not interested in other women anyway. Baiya didn't understand what he meant by that. Marry her? Or was he using flowery words to confuse her? Do you feel uncomfortable? Gu Lingqing asked her in a serious manner. Baiya really didn't want to talk about this topic later. She said perfunctorily, I'm all right. Chapter 182. I want to take a shower now, but it's too late, Baiya urged him. Okay. He got up and carried her to the bathroom. Baiya used the bathtub and he used the shower. She didn't dare to look at him. She looked at the water in the bathtub, but her thoughts kept drifting to what he said. I think it's good to be with you like this for the rest of my life. I'm not interested in other women anyway. Baiya, you're too boring. You can tell me if you have any requests. You're the only woman I've ever come into contact with, so I don't know what women like. If they're not good, I'll try to improve. Not only about her, but also about what happened to you abroad in the past 3 years. Su Shaoling and I have already broken off our engagement. I'm single now. He was really flirting with her with every word. He was flirting with her to the core. It was impossible to say that she wasn't flustered. She couldn't lie to herself. She was moved. Gu Lingqing, do you like me? Baiya looked at him and asked directly. He was still secretive, and there was no trace of clues on his face. Do you believe what I said, or do you believe what you saw? Baiya's heart skipped a beat, and a chill gradually invaded her body. She remembered that 3 years ago, Gu Lingqing hadn't lost his memory yet. She had also asked Gu Lingqing the same question. He said that he didn't say it but only did it. At that time she was very touched. She believed that Gu Lingqing wasn't a person with flowery words, and she also believed that he would use his actions to prove what true love was. It wasn't until he lost his memory that she knew that Gu Lingqing didn't say it because he loved Zhou Hailan in his heart. He couldn't say it. He was good to her, and he just took his responsibility. Now Gu Lingqing was still like this. Baiya smiled. She raised an extremely charming smile and stood up from the bathtub. She calmly picked up the bath towel and wrapped it around her body. I believe it. I can feel it in my heart. She walked past him, went out, and took out a change of clothes from her suitcase. The confusion in her eyes had all disappeared. What was left was only coldness. When Gu Lingqing came out of the washroom, Baiya was no longer there. She went to the police station first. When she arrived at the police station, she was surprised to see that Leng Qiuzuan was there too. I thought you had left. I don't like to give up halfway. Although I won't take over directly, it's good to know the result by watching you guys handle the case, Leng Qiuzuan explained. Baiya smiled. Although he was venomous, arrogant, and impolite to others, he was still very professional. Then I'll go in first. Baiya, Leng Qiuzuan shouted. Baiya looked at Leng Qiuzuan. I've checked Wang Dong'er's account. There's only 800 yuan in it. Last year, she started to spend a lot of money. One of them was on a credit card in Japan. She bought a Sony HDR-X 2000E, a professional video camera. Also, her boyfriend, who was a videographer, had bought her partner, bought the latest 3D screen. Also, Wang Dong'er majored in psychology in university, Leng Qiuzuan reminded. I understand how they killed. Xiong Jiqing and Xiong Jinping were scared to death. They thought that Xia He was after their lives. Xiong Chang'an committed suicide. Maybe he couldn't handle the mental pressure, Baiya guessed. It's up to you. I'll be in the surveillance room, Leng Qiuzuan said. Leng Qiuzuan said, coolly passing by her, then stopped. Did you buy the fruits I told you to buy? I bought them. They're in my room. I'll give them to you after I'm done with the interrogation, Baiya said. Leng Qiuzuan had a strange expression. He wanted to say something but stopped. He took a deep breath and said, Baiya, do you know why I took this case? You like challenges, Baiya said. Xiong Jinping is my friend's uncle. I was asked by my friend to take part in this case, Leng Qiuzuan said and looked at Baiya. Baiya understood now. His friend was Su Jiran. You knew who I was? Baiya asked. I didn't know. Jiaran called me just now and asked me about you. I only found out that you're his ex-wife. I always thought that his ex-wife's surname was Xing. What's your relationship with Xing Jinyan? Leng Qiuzuan continued. No wonder she felt that Leng Qiuzuan's attitude towards her had changed. It turned out that he knew she was Su Jiaran's ex-wife. My half-sister. We were born on the same year, month, and day. I'm a few minutes older than her, Baya explained. You must have suffered a lot. That's why you changed from an obstetrician and gynecologist to a psychologist. Baya smiled. No matter how bitter it is, it's all over. Because it's bitter, you'll feel that every day in the future will be sweet. As long as you don't feel bitter, you'll be invincible. Don't blame Su Jiaran. I was wondering why he let Xing Batian go when he could have killed him. It's all because of you, Leng Qiuzuan said meaningfully. What does that mean? He wants to kill Xing Batian? Baya was surprised. Su Jiaran's biological father was killed by Xing Batian. He married you for revenge. You should ask Jiaran about it. Since you're my brother's woman, I won't make things difficult for you. If you need help, you can call me. Leng Qiuzuan shrugged. He said regretfully. Su Jiaran's biological father was killed by Xing Batian? Baya was confused and couldn't believe it. No wonder she always felt that Su Jiaran hated her and wanted to make her suffer on purpose, pushing her to hell step by step. There was actually such a layer of relationship in it. Leng Qiuzuan didn't say anything else and walked to the surveillance room. Baya stood at the entrance of the police station, recalling the past bit by bit. Why are you standing here? Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baya was so engrossed that she was startled. She glanced at Gu Lingqing and walked to the interrogation room. Gu Lingqing held her arm and looked into her eyes. What are you thinking about? You don't look so good. I have some information. I roughly know how they killed them. However, Wang Donner is also a psychology student. It will be difficult for her to break through. After all, there is no concrete evidence. Baya said ambiguously. Don't worry about it. We have time. Besides, I suspect that this murder case can't be done by one person. It's hard to break through Wang Donner's psychological defense, but it's easy for others. Gu Lingqing said. Baya nodded. Gu Lingqing, do you know how Xiong Dani's husband died? I think he died during a mission. He was only 30 when he died. But Gu Lingqing looked at Baya suspiciously. Chapter 183. Only 30? How old was Su Jiaran then? Baya asked, glancing at Gu Lingqing. He looked at her deeply. Don't you think it's inappropriate to show your concern for your ex-husband in front of me? I'm just asking. You're talking about your ex-husband just by asking a few questions. If you don't ask casually, you're talking about him all the time. Baya, have I been too lenient with you? Gu Lingqing said the last sentence sternly. Baya shut up. What was her relationship with him? He was being too nosy. She walked into the interrogation room and took a look at the information of the person involved. April 12, 2020, where were you? I was filming. I'm the cameraman, so of course I'm involved, the cameraman said confidently. What film? Baya said calmly. What film? Didn't you take it to watch? My close-up shot is not bad, right? It's very clear. Both men and women love to watch it, the cameraman said pervertedly. I didn't watch the close-up shot, but I saw that you said you were going to watch the premiere of Sea of Beauties. The premiere was in June 2019, right? So, this video wasn't filmed on the night of April 12, 2020. Tell me, what were you doing on April 12th? Baya said sternly. The cameraman looked at Baya with a dumbfounded expression. His eyes flickered. I don't know what you're talking about. It's okay if you don't know what I'm talking about, as long as the court knows what I'm talking about. Righteousness is a virtue, filial piety is a duty. You're taking the blame for someone else. Will your grandmother think that you're right? Baya asked, sizing up the cameraman's face. Panic flashed in his eyes. Don't tell my grandmother. I won't tell her, but if she hears the rumors, it might be even bloodier and darker than the truth. Are you sure you want to be the mastermind of the murder? Maybe you can't even fulfill your duty of filial piety? Maybe your grandmother doesn't even want to see you. Baya's words hit the heart of the cameraman. His heart. I actually don't know anything, the cameraman said in a panic. Then tell me what you know. Mason and I are partners. He seduces beautiful women to come over, and they volunteer to shoot some videos and post them online to earn some money. Some of the videos are sold directly to Japanese film companies. Last year, he brought a girl with him. Her name was Wang Dong. He said this girl was very different. I'm filming for them. That's all I do. Mason handles everything else. One day, they asked me to shoot a thriller, saying that they had a way to upload it to an online video app. However, the scene was too bloody, too violent, too realistic, and too erotic. It didn't pass the audit at all. Then, Wang Donner and Mason disappeared, and I made a short film or something. Late at night on the 12th of April, Mason contacted me and told me that if anyone asked about me, just tell them that I was filming on the 12th of April. That's what happened, the cameraman explained. After we verify that what you said is true, we will let you go. Baiya stood up. Gu Lingqing was already standing outside the door. I'm going to interrogate Wang Dong now, Baiya said to Gu Lingqing. She might admit to the video, but she might not admit to the murder. I've read all of Wang Xiaohe's diary. I've written down everything about Wang Dong. Take a look first. Gu Lingqing passed a square piece of paper to Baiya. Baiya now understood why he looked so tired. He must have stayed up all night to read the diary. Why didn't you give it to me earlier? Baiya took the paper from his hand, confused. It's a bit heavy. I didn't want you to feel bad. You'll know when you read it, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baiya flipped the paper. She did feel uncomfortable after reading it. There was a gloomy feeling, like the dampness of rain. She looked at Gu Lingqing slowly. He was still as meticulous as before. He would care about her feelings. Even in death, he didn't forget to protect her. In terms of feelings, he was using himself to make up for it. If Su Jiran treated her well, he wouldn't have saved her. If he didn't lose his memory, he wouldn't have let her know that he loved Zhou Hailan. He was just responsible for her. He was a very mature man. She couldn't blame him. Baiya turned around. Gu Lingqing held her hand. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing confusedly. I don't have a good temper. Don't be angry at me, Gu Lingqing said. Baiya was stunned. I'm not angry. What do you mean? It's okay if you forgot. However, I still have to make it clear. You're my woman now. Don't think about your ex-husband, Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. Who's your woman? Baiya pursed her lips and denied it. She turned around and walked toward the interrogation room. Gu Lingqing stood there. His face was livid. There was a fire in his heart. He couldn't let it out or swallow it. I'm curious. Why is Jia Ran so obsessed with her? I think I know the answer. Leng Qiuzuan stood beside Gu Lingqing. He looked at Baiya's back and sighed. Gu Lingqing looked at Leng Qiuzuan. I slept with her. Leng Qiuzuan. He never thought that such words would come out of Gu Lingqing's mouth. It was like a child showing off his toy. Gu Lingqing was satisfied with his expression. The fire in his heart seemed to have been released. Almost every day. Leng Qiuzuan, bro, you're bragging, Leng Qiuzuan said bluntly. Gu Lingqing's eyes darkened. He said calmly, and many times a day. That's enough. Leng Qiuzuan raised his voice. His sister could tolerate it, but his brother couldn't. However, Gu Lingqing was still serious. He said domineeringly, pass on the 3 sentences I said to Su Jiran. Add 1 more sentence. He doesn't have a chance. I never spread false rumors. Leng Qiuzuan raised his chin and walked past Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing's anger was slightly appeased. Now it was back. When you came to talk bad about me to Baiya, I was in her room. Gu Lingqing pointed it out. Leng Qiuzuan laughed. How can a man who isn't acknowledged by a woman say that other men don't have a chance? What a joke. Gu Lingqing twitched the corner of his mouth. Compared to the coldness in his eyes, his smile was a little terrifying. I heard that Mr. Leng is a black Dan in karate. Let's have a match? Sure. After Baiya interrogates Wang Dana, let's have a match. Who's afraid of who? What will the loser say? Leng Qiuzuan said confidently. The loser, of course, will go to the hospital. What else can he say? Gu Lingqing said coldly. Chapter 184. Baya walked into the interrogation room. Wang Dana was calm and collected. She smiled and said, "Looks like you've already passed the first test. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here." Baya sat on the chair and said, "I heard that you're studying psychology. What made you change your profession?" "Pabi, are you satisfied with this answer?" Wang Dana smiled and said. Baya looked at her and tapped the table rhythmically. "Your sister is much older than you. When she left you, you were only 7. Do you still remember what happened when you were 7? Wang Dana casually flicked the lamp on the table to the floor and made a loud thud. Baya stopped and looked at Wang Dana in surprise. "Are you trying to hypnotize me?" Wang Dana already knew what was going on. "We're kindred spirits. Let's just have a chat. Your family is from a scholarly family?" Baya guessed. "My mother is a doctor and my father is a teacher. They were both killed in a burglary case. My sister and I were raised by my grandmother. Our family conditions weren't good, so my sister went out to work," Wang Dana said casually. "The culprits who killed your parents have been caught, right?" Baya said with certainty. "A year after my sister went out to work, the 2 robbers were killed by a car when they were trying to escape," Wang Dana said coldly. "So, you don't believe the police and want to use your ability to avenge your sister?" Baya guessed. Wang Dana laughed. "You're tricking me. It's just a normal analysis. You know what I mean." Wang Dong leaned back in her chair lazily. "Then let me analyze you." Wang Dana looked at Baya from head to toe and her gaze landed on Baya's broken finger. Baya subconsciously put his hand under the table. "You have a man you love very much. This man doesn't love you. You're in a lot of pain," Wang Dana guessed. Baya laughed. "You were raped by your uncle." Wang Dana looked at Baya in surprise. Her eyes were filled with disbelief. "How did you know?" "No one knows about this, not even my boyfriend." "You cherished your sister's feelings too much. You didn't receive any consolation from other relatives. You originally studied psychology, but because of the trauma, you started to give up on yourself. That was until you found your sister's body and the diary. You started your year-long deployment," Baya guessed. "Yes, I took some videos. If not for the fact that there were no ghosts, would they have been scared to death?" Wang Dong mocked. Her eyes were filled with disdain. "You've seen your sister's days, right? She keeps repeating that she wants Dong to be well. She calls those people bad people. If your sister knew what you've done, would she call you that?" Baya asked. "My sister will be proud of me. Even though your sister was abused, she had a kind and gentle heart. She wanted to use her meager strength to save the 2 children. That's why they deserve to die even more. They didn't even spare a kind person like my sister. Do they even have a conscience? They injected a vesicant into her when she was still alive. They wanted my sister to die," Wang Dong said hatefully. "They were wrong. Do you think you did the right thing? Your sister said that she wanted to worship her parents with you. She wanted to be filial to her grandmother with you. She wanted to help other children like you. Xiong Jiqing's child is 7 years old. He's the same age as you. Xiong Jiqing deserved it. He was the one who injected the vesicant into my sister." Wang Dan was agitated. "What about a 7-year-old child?" Baya asked. "He doesn't deserve to have a child," Wang Dan said coldly. "But he's already a 7-year-old child. Xiong Jiqing paid the price for his actions. What about you? Are you going to continue to struggle in the mud and let your sister down? Or are you going to bear the responsibility? I know you wanted to let Xiong Chang'an go on purpose. That's because Xiong Chang'an treated your sister well. Your sister said in the diary that he was a good person. However, he was under too much pressure and chose to commit suicide. Am I right?" Baya asked seriously. Wang Donner's eyes turned red. "Xiong Chang'an liked my sister. He was the first one who came to me to repent. I asked him to report me, but he didn't dare to. He was a coward. Even if he committed suicide, my sister wouldn't forgive him." "Your sister will forgive him because she's kind." Baya lowered her eyes and paused for 3 seconds. "Wang Dana, you've committed the crime of using a terrorist video to kill someone. Everything you've said can be used as evidence in court. I believe the court will make a clear judgment. You tricked me?" Wang Dan looked at Baya anxiously. I'm telling the truth. Since you've planned this for a year and even dragged your boyfriend down with you, you don't intend to let them go. They must die. That's because they deserve to die. They're mentally strong. If they're scared to death, it means that they're repentant towards your sister. Why did you? They didn't have any repentance at all. I was the one who drugged them. The powder entered their brains through the smell and glowed after 2 hours. The forensics department couldn't detect it at all, Wang Dan said impulsively. Yes. Lung Qiuzuan couldn't help but praise her. He crossed his arms and looked at Bai Ye with admiration. I didn't expect her to be not only beautiful but also smart. She's able to use her mind freely. No wonder she's so famous at such a young age. Well done. Gu Lingqing turned off the surveillance. The screen was black. Lung Qiuzuan frowned and looked at Gu Lingqing. What are you doing? The case has been exposed. Next, it's our job. Are you going? Gu Lingqing said coldly. Of course. Wang Dan said that the man Bai Ye loved didn't love her. I think she was talking about Su Jiaran, the man she loved. Lung Qiuzuan said these 4 words with deep meaning, full of provocation. You're thinking too much. If they loved each other, they wouldn't have gotten a divorce. He walked out coldly. Lung Qiuzuan followed behind him unhappily. He imagined the scene of Gu Lingqing being beaten up by him. Just thinking about it made him feel better. Half an hour later, the ambulance arrived. They carried Lung Qiuzuan onto a stretcher and sent him to the hospital. Bai Ye came out of the interrogation room. Seeing that Gu Lingqing wasn't around, she went back first and booked a train ticket back to City A. She was packing her luggage at the hotel. Knock, knock, knock. Someone knocked on the door. She looked through the peephole. It was Gu Lingqing. She opened the door and looked at her calmly. Gu Lingqing handed the 99 roses to her. They say that all girls like roses. Thank you. Bai Ye took it and placed it on the table. Chapter 185. Bai Ye widened her eyes and stared at Gu Lingqing. Her mind went blank for a moment, but she quickly calmed down. If you want to date me officially because you're worried that I'll feel wronged, then you don't have to. I'll only feel more wronged if I date you, Bai Ye said bluntly and put the folded clothes into the luggage. What do you mean by more wronged? Gu Lingqing frowned. Do you think I'm not qualified to be your boyfriend? Bai Ye didn't even look at Gu Lingqing. She zipped up the luggage and put it upright. She looked at Gu Lingqing seriously. The premise of dating is that we like each other. Do you think we like each other? Gu Lingqing pursed his lips tightly. His face was pale and he looked at her deeply. His aura changed according to his mood. Bai Ye carried the luggage and walked towards the door. Gu Lingqing held her arm and looked at her. I think we like each other. Bai Ye's heart skipped a beat. She looked at him and sized up his expression. I don't want to date. If I want to, we'll just get married. You can't get a divorce in a military marriage. Do you dare? Gu Lingqing paused. Bai Ye smiled. Her eyes were full of sarcasm. She turned around and faced Gu Lingqing. I don't have time to waste my youth. It's too dangerous to be in a relationship with the general. I don't have the confidence to walk to the end. Either we get married and I'll be with you for the rest of my life. You don't have to answer me immediately. I'll give you a month to think about it carefully before you decide. There's no medicine for regret in this world. She pushed his hand away, opened the door and walked out. Her eyes were dark and misty, reflecting the sunlight. Bai Ye was mentally and physically exhausted. She couldn't afford to play any games of love. She couldn't bear any tragic ending. If she dated Gu Lingqing and was found out by Song Shiyu and Gu Tianhang, she would definitely die. Or she could cut ties with Gu Lingqing and start a new life. Otherwise, she could directly become Gu Lingqing's wife. What was done could not be undone. With her identity as the wife of the chief, Song Shiyu and Gu Tianhang would not be able to hurt her. The deepest part of her heart hid the most hysterical love for Gu Lingqing. She chose to compromise and give herself one last chance. Regardless of whether he was responsible for her or had other motives, as long as he agreed to marry her, she would spend the rest of her life as a confession of love. However, she felt so wronged, so sullen, and so afraid. She was afraid that she wouldn't have the courage to continue living after being mercilessly hurt. She was also afraid that accompanying her would become a mutual injury. The memory of the past was like a knife cutting her heart. Gu Lingqing's, "Hi Lan, I miss you so much," was more painful than killing her. If it was the same after marriage, the person she loved someone else. She could persist in this kind of marriage. She was so conflicted. She couldn't figure it out, so she got stuck in a dead end and her thoughts started to get confused. Bai Ye's remaining rationality found something wrong. She quickly took out a white plastic bottle from her bag, looked at the label, and poured out a small black pill with trembling hands. She threw it into her mouth and dragged her suitcase into the corridor. She leaned against the wall, clenched her fists, and slowly calmed herself down. A minute later, she opened her eyes, and the confusion in her eyes gradually became clear. There was a limit to human feelings. After being hurt, the heart would hurt, and the body would produce a lot of toxic substances, eroding the nerves and cells. The pain caused by this kind of feeling would not heal like a knife wound. In fact, it was very difficult to heal. When the pain reached a certain level, people would protect themselves and become mentally deranged. The most common was schizophrenia. Most patients indulged in hallucinations and delusions, which manifested in smashing things, hurting people, destroying things, indifference to feelings, and detachment from real life. Her mother was like this. She had been schizophrenic for a long time. Depression, obsessive-compulsive disorder, anxiety disorder, insomnia, anorexia, phobia, autism, personality disorder, and dementia all happened together. She didn't want to be like her mother and become schizophrenic. If that was the case, she would rather die. After adjusting her emotions, Bai Ye came out of the corridor. Although doctors couldn't cure themselves, she knew a way to think about happy things, divert attention, find new joy in life, and so on. Bai Ye came out of the elevator and saw Gu Lingqing sitting on the sofa in the lounge area. She went to check out. Gu Lingqing took her luggage. Bai Ye looked at him, and he put her luggage in his car. Bai Ye checked out and walked over. Gu Lingqing opened the door of the front passenger seat. "I'll send you to the train station." Bai Ye nodded and sat in the front passenger seat calmly. Gu Lingqing drove, looked ahead and said, "I found the murderer, but this matter can't be made public. I have to stay to deal with the aftermath. The dead are gone, and the living have to live. I have to do a good job of making up for it secretly. As long as you have a clear conscience." Bai Ye sighed and said, "I didn't believe in fate in the past. I thought that the future was in my own hands. As long as I worked hard, as long as I persevered, as long as I moved towards my goal, I would always get what I deserved. In fact, sometimes there will be something in life. Didn't you say that you have a clear conscience? If you don't work hard, how can you have a clear conscience?" Gu Lingqing said meaningfully, glancing at Bai Ye's fair and delicate face. She wasn't impetuous. She was very beautiful, but she was also dignified and elegant. She was the kind of person who looked more and more beautiful at first glance. I saw a news yesterday. It was about a 19-year-old girl who fell into the river because she broke up with her boyfriend. A boy jumped in and saved her. She was rescued, but the boy was washed away by the water and died because he was too weak. Isn't this fate? Bai Ye said with some sadness. Gu Lingqing held her hand and put it on his lap. His palm was very warm, but hers was very cold. When I was helpless in life, I met Su Jiran. He helped me find a job and brought my mother out of the mental hospital. After getting my mother out of the mental hospital, I thought my life would get better. Only now did I know that Su Jiran and I knew each other because of a planned conspiracy. You saved me from the fire pit. I thought that I found happiness. For this happiness, I was willing to give up everything. Fate played a joke on me again. You lost your memory. Bai Ye looked at Gu Lingqing, and tears rolled down her cheeks. Gu Lingqing held Bai Ye's hand tightly and frowned. I'll marry you. After I'm done with my work, we'll get married when we go back. Bai Ye smiled, and the corners of her lips curled up. She looked at him gently and smoothed his brows with her thumb. You're always like this. Responsibility is everything to you. Because you feel that you owe me for losing your memory, you want to make it up to me. Gu Lingqing, I don't need it. Go and live the life you want. Don't be burdened by responsibility and memories. I can actually live a better life alone. Chapter 186. Gu Lingqing, let's let each other go, Baiya said softly. Gu Lingqing pulled over and stopped the car. He was a little annoyed. You're the one who said we're going to get married, but you're the one who wants to let each other go. What do you want? Can I do whatever I want? Baiya asked. Gu Lingqing was also impatient. He said firmly, yes, what do you want? Let's do it. Let's let each other go. Okay, he said straightforwardly. He looked ahead and started the car. Baiya knew that what he said was true. However, she didn't regret it, because she saw him frown. He said that he would marry her, but he didn't mean it. So be it. Gu Lingqing sent her to the train station and watched her walk in. His eyes were as dark as ink. He took out a cigarette from the storage box, lit it, took a deep breath, and exhaled thick smoke. The smoke enchanted his strong facial features. Half an hour later, he made a call to Lieutenant Colonel Song. Go to the Psychology Institute and issue an official document. I need a psychologist to test the psychological quality of the soldiers, to the extent of the darkness of the soldier's psychology, and specify that I want Baiya. Okay, I'll go to the relevant departments to communicate the agreement now. Gu Lingqing hung up the phone, threw the phone into the passenger seat, and drove away from the train station. After Baiya returned to City A, she wanted to have a good sleep in the hotel, but Lu Shuang called. Baiya, when will you come back? I miss you so much. Baiya smiled. I think we really have a telepathic connection. I just returned to City A and stayed in the hotel. That's great. Let's have dinner together tonight. Let me tell you, the man on the blind date last time was also unreliable. He dumped me again. Tell me, am I so bad? No one wants to date me? Lu Shuang was a little depressed. I'll treat you tonight. Let's go to the U mansion that we used to go to. That U manor has been closed for 2 years. Oh really? For some reason, Baiya felt a little sad when she heard this. She remembered that the fish mansion's business was very good. The boss was very enthusiastic, and the food was delicious. That's right. In the past 2 years, takeout has become the norm. Many people order at home. His apartment is so big, and the rent is too high. He can't do it anymore. I know a good restaurant in a scenic area. There's even a 4A women's club there. I wanted to go, but I didn't want to be alone. You can accompany me. It's my treat. Lu Shuang explained. A women's club? Baiya thought of Su Shaoling. The men there are not clean. Don't touch them. Am I stupid? Spending money to find a man? It's not like I have too much money to spend. I'm just going there to broaden my horizons. Going to a spa or something isn't a problem. Okay, I live in a Sheraton near a university. Call me when you arrive. Half an hour later, Lu Shuang arrived. Baiya was quite surprised. It takes an hour to get here from the military. You're too fast. Hee, Tiger is not at home. There's not much work. I'm on leave tomorrow, so I came out earlier today. When I called you, you were already driving. Let's go. I'll take you to eat fish. Lu Shuang said with a smile. Baiya got into Lu Shuang's car and fastened her seatbelt. What's the Mu Shaoxing you mentioned? Lu Shuang asked. He's very charming. He's like a wild crane and has many women who like him. He's a vagabond who had a short marriage. He's probably a good bachelor who won't settle down until he's 40. What's wrong? Don't tell me you're interested in him. Baiya was worried. She looked at Lu Shuang. I'm in a hurry. If it was 4 years ago, I would be young and invincible. But now I'm almost 30. I'm not in a hurry, but my parents are. Every time I go home, I have to listen to their nagging. I'm so tired of eating. Lu Shuang sighed. You're only 27 this year. There's still 3 years before you're 30. Don't be in a hurry. Baiya suggested. I wasn't in a hurry before. I wanted to find someone, date for 2 years, get married, and settle down. But, according to the number of times I've been dumped, I think I'll still be single when I'm 30. What kind of women do men like nowadays? I'm speechless. Lu Shuang was annoyed. I think they would like someone like you. You're bright and cheerful. You're generous, filial, kind, and have a good figure. Plus, you're beautiful. You shouldn't be single. Baya was also curious. Right? I'm also financially independent. I don't need men's money. I can pay for the house with them. Those men are blind. Lu Shuang shrugged. I'll go on a blind date show. I'll cast my net and catch the fish. There will be. Oh, I think I saw Shenyan last time. He was at the place where you attended the blind date show. Baya couldn't remember clearly. What was he doing here? Did he have nothing better to do than flirt with the girls in the military? Lu Shuang was unhappy when he mentioned him. Did you guys keep in touch after last time? Baya asked casually. What's there to keep in touch with? My first time was ruined by him. He was reckless and almost killed me. If I didn't know he was also drugged, I wouldn't have let him go. If I were still a virgin, I might be worth more money. Don't talk about him. It's annoying. Lu Shuang sped up. Half an hour later, they arrived at the hotel in the scenic area. When they arrived, it was already past dinner time. The hotel didn't have supper, so it was closed. Let's go. There's food in the women's club. Lu Shuang pulled Baya over. Only members could enter the women's club. While Lu Shuang was working, Baya went to the washroom. Have you heard? That Tony is already dead. His body was split into 8 pieces. The murderer is very vicious. He even cut off his penis and stuffed it into his mouth. Then he threw it into the public toilet, a woman said. That's horrible. What a pity. Tony is good-looking and has a good figure. I heard that his skills are excellent too. Only Diamond members can use them, another woman said. Do you know Mu Xiaoxing? Baya was about to leave, but when she heard Mu Xiaoxing's name, she looked at the woman who spoke. He said that Tony's woman might be the murderer. Before the murderer could be brought to the police station, he was taken away by someone. I was there when he was taken away. Baya frowned. The Mu Xiaoxing you're talking about, is he the psychologist Mu Xiaoxing? A Diamond member must be someone important. Moreover, the information of Diamond members is hidden. I think he's in trouble this time. Baya quickly called Gu Lingqing. She knew those people's methods too well. Mu Xiaoxing had offended someone. Gu Lingqing answered the phone and said in a strange tone, You're not going to let yourself go so soon? Chapter 187. She had an impulse to hang up the phone. She was silent for a while. Among the people she knew, the most powerful one was Gu Lingqing. Only Gu Lingqing could help her. Mu Xiaoxing was kind to her and helped her when she was in a desperate situation. With this kindness, she should try her best to save him. I need your help with something, Baya said in a low voice. She was a little embarrassed. Well, tell me. What's the matter? Gu Lingqing sounded nice. I heard that Mu Xiaoxing was taken away by someone. Mu Xiaoxing is the director of the Psychological Research Institute. Can you let him out? You don't know who took him away? Gu Lingqing asked back. In a women's club, a man named Tony was killed. Then, Mu Xiaoxing said that it might have been done by the person who called for Tony last. He was taken away. Tony's level is very high. Only Diamond members can call for him. I suspect that it was the Diamond member who took Mu Xiaoxing away. I'm worried that they will harm Mu Xiaoxing. Baya briefly explained the situation. I see. Where you now? Baya didn't want to say where she was. What's wrong? I asked the director of City A to come and cooperate with you. Go to the women's club and find out the information of the Diamond member. I've intervened. They won't dare to not let him go, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Oh, I'm with Qingfeng Shulai. Baya's voice became lower. Gu Lingqing paused and asked in a very bad tone, You went to the women's club? Baya, when I want you, you say no, but when I find a stranger, you want me. Is it that I can't satisfy you? Or have you learned to be cheap? Do you know they are not clean? Gu Lingqing was so angry that his words became more and more unpleasant. Baya was very thin-skinned. It's not what you think. I came here to accompany Lu Shuang. I didn't say I wanted to do that. I just came here to sing. There are so many places to sing. Do you want to go to those places to sing? Gu Lingqing said sharply. I told you I'm here to accompany Lu Shuang. Bai Ye frowned. Your feet are on your body. If you don't want to go, who can force you? You are so eloquent. Lu Shuang actually doesn't have a mind of his own. If you don't want to go, he won't go. Gu Lingqing said affirmatively. Bai Ye couldn't win against him, so he hung up the phone angrily. As soon as she hung up, she regretted it. She asked Gu Lingqing for help. She and Gu Lingqing were nothing. Why was she feeling guilty? However, she hung up the phone so suddenly. She was really worried that Gu Lingqing wouldn't help her. It was better to do it this way. She still called Gu Lingqing shamelessly. He was currently on a call. Her heart was in a mess. She sighed and waited for a minute. Then she called Gu Lingqing. I've arranged the people. They'll be there in an hour. Find a place and wait. Gu Lingqing said coolly. Bai Ye felt a warm feeling flowing in her heart. Although he was cold and hard to get along with, he was very capable. He arranged everything in a short while. Thank you. Bai Ye's tone softened. Don't just say it. I want the specifics. Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. He was still suppressing his anger. When you come back, I'll treat you to a meal. Bai Ye said quickly. Okay, that's all. I still have something to deal with here. Thank you. Bai Ye said politely. The word you was respectful and distant. It denied the intimate relationship between them. It made his temper rise. Bai Ye, you really don't learn your lesson. Bai Ye, before she knew what was going on, he hung up the phone. Bai Ye, I've been looking for you for a long time. Who are you talking to? The line was busy. Lu Shuang complained as he walked over. He waved the card in his hand. I've already done it. I went inside just now. There's actually a self-service bar. But Bai Ye hesitated. Gu Lingqing's warning was still ringing in her ears. If he knew that she went inside, he would probably go crazy again. What are you doing? I booked a private room to sing. We can eat while singing. Come on, baby. Lu Shuang put his arm around Bai Ye's shoulder. You didn't call their cattle, did you? Bai Ye was on guard. The cheapest is 3,000 yuan. It's a little expensive. I can't bear to pay for it. I'll accompany you today. You accompany me. Lu Shuang put his arm around her and went in. Bai Ye made up her mind and followed Lu Shuang in. Anyway, she was magnanimous. It was fine as long as she didn't do what Gu Lingqing said. They went inside. In the form of a buffet, there was a variety of dishes, and everything was available. Lu Shuang's eyes were sparkling. Then, she wouldn't stand on ceremony. Her stomach was already growling with hunger. They went into the private room to sing. Half an hour later, someone knocked on the door. Lu Shuang guessed that it was to promote the cattle. She opened the door. Indeed, outside the door, there were two men with gorgeous masks following behind the mommy. Beautiful lady, today is the lucky day of our restaurant. These two young men are a gift. I hope they can accompany you to have fun. The mommy said with a smile. A gift. Lu Shuang didn't want to take them at first, but since they were a gift, she didn't want them. Come in. Bai Ye, didn't they say that they wouldn't find cattle? Cool girl, don't take them. They might have some illness. Bai Ye didn't say the word. It was too hurtful to her self-esteem. Don't worry, sister. We have a health certificate. We are all natural and safe, the man with the fox mask said. His voice sounded like he was quite young. We can sing and drink. Xiao Bai, what do you want? Lu Shuang teased. Go and accompany her. I don't need it. Bai Ye rejected. The man with the fox mask sat on the right of Lu Shuang, while the man with the dragon vine mask sat on the left of Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang looked at the man with the dragon vine mask. Do you know how to sing? The man shook his head. No wonder it's a free gift. It's a defective product. Wearing a mask. Do I look ugly? Lu Shuang asked casually. The man with the dragon vine. Sister, we aren't ugly. It's just that because it's a gift, we can't show you how we look. We can accompany you to drink and sing. The one beside you doesn't like to talk and doesn't like to sing, the man explained. Lu Shuang looked at the man with curiosity. You don't even know how to sing. Your business must be bad. The man with the dragon vine. He lowered his head and whispered something in Lu Shuang's ear. Lu Shuang blushed and looked at him in surprise. The man with the corner of his mouth curled up. He looked quite charming and sexy as he poured red wine for Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang took it uncomfortably. He didn't dare to drink it and pulled Bai Ya out. "Your Highness." The man with the fox mask shouted worriedly. Shen Yin raised her hand and signaled him not to say anything. Chapter 188. There's no free lunch in the world. Maybe it's their marketing strategy. They say it's a free gift, and when you can't stop, they'll start to charge you a service fee, Bai Ya guessed. I think so too. Why don't we drive them away? Lu Shuang and Bai Ya discussed. Bai Ya nodded. That's the best. Let's go back. Lu Shuang pushed the door open. You guys can leave. We don't need you anymore. Did we do something wrong? The man in the fox mask struggled. I think you talk too much, Lu Shuang said bluntly. Shen Tian, who was wearing the soaring dragon mask, was straightforward. She stood up, tidied her clothes, nodded elegantly, and walked out of the door. Seeing Shen Yin leave, the man in the fox mask followed her immediately. Lu Shuang was relieved when he saw how straightforward they were. He picked up the wine glass and took a sip. The wine was good. Bai Ya's phone rang. She saw it was Gu Lingqing's call, so she picked it up immediately. Gu Lingqing heard the singing coming from the phone. You went in. Bai Ya was annoyed. She was too anxious and forgot to turn off the sound. It's really just singing. Go to the door now. If you come in again, I promise I'll make one of you lose a leg, Gu Lingqing said angrily. Got it. You know those people outside are my people. Don't try your luck, Gu Lingqing reminded her again. Okay. Bai Ya hung up. What's wrong? Lu Shuang asked, puzzled. I have something to do. I'm going out for a while. I won't be coming in. Why don't you come with me? Bai Ya was worried about Lu Shuang. I ordered a 3-hour ticket. If you order for 3 hours, you can get a free ticket for the whole night. I don't have to work tomorrow. I want to sing to my heart's content. Lu Shuang didn't want to leave. It's too dangerous for you to be here alone. What's so dangerous about it? I can't ask for more. I'm fine. You go ahead with your work. If you still want to sing, come to this room to find me. Lu Shuang pushed Bai Ya out. Bai Ya was very sorry. She had originally come to accompany Lu Shuang. She had not expected that something would happen to Mu Shaoxing. Call me if you need anything. I'll sing with you another day, Bai Ya promised. You can leave now. No one will fight for the microphone with me. I can enjoy it all by myself. Lu Shuang said straightforwardly. Her phone rang. It was a call from an unknown number. It was probably from the bureau chief. She picked it up. Well, Ms. Bai Ya, I'm Zhang Donglai from the Public Security Department. Someone told us that if you didn't come out in 5 minutes, we would have to come in and look for you, Zhang Donglai said apologetically. I'm already on my way out, Bai Ya explained. She guessed that the someone was referring to Gu Lingqing. She had already broken up with Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing was controlling her too much. She was not his girlfriend. She did not have the strength to complain. She felt that if this continued, she would not be able to escape from the cage he had created. She left the room in a hurry. She did not notice that someone was staring at her. Your Highness, the girl has come out. We don't have to send her away, right? The man in the fox mask asked. Shen Yin curled her lips. It seems like it's God's arrangement. When Lu Shuang finishes drinking, you can take her away. Bai Ya arrived at the door. 2 police cars were there. One of them was a well-built middle-aged man. He was wearing a police uniform and looked very formidable. He took the initiative to extend his hand to Bai Ya and greeted her politely. Hello, Zhang Donglai. What do you need me to do now? Hello, Bai Ya. Bai Ya greeted him and went straight to the point. Go and find out who were the customers who ordered Tony yesterday. I want the specific information of the customers. Okay, someone asked you to wait in the car. I think it will take 10 minutes. I will give it to you in 10 minutes, Zhang Donglai said. Bai Ya, Zhang Donglai brought them to the club. A police officer opened the car door and gestured for Baya to get in. She had a strange feeling in her heart. She sat in the back seat and looked out of the window anxiously. Her phone rang. It was a message from Lu Shuang. She opened it. Xiao Bai, I like a male bull. I'm going to play with him first. Don't look for him. Baya was worried. She called Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang did not pick up the call. Are you crazy? Which room are you in? Shuang Niu, don't do something you will regret. Baya sent the message anxiously. Don't worry. I know what I'm doing. I'm already an adult. I'm going to take a shower. My phone is off. What? Don't disturb me. You should support me if you are my sister. Baya could tell that it was Lu Shuang's tone. Although she did not agree with it, Lu Shuang was right. She was already an adult. She knew what she was talking about. If she were to forcefully bring Lu Shuang away, Lu Shuang would not be happy. She did not call him again. She was just worried. After Shen Yan sent the message, she switched off Lu Shuang's phone and placed it on the bedside table. She looked coldly at Lu Shuang, who was unconscious on the bed. She actually came to look for a male bull. He had really given her freedom. He tore off his tie and threw it on the sofa. Then he unbuttoned his clothes. Lu Shuang frowned slightly. He felt so hot. It was so hot that it felt like there were many worms crawling on him. Uncomfortable. Shen Yan's body covered Lu Shuang's and she pinched his chin. You deserve it. You don't have any self-awareness at all as my woman. Lu Shuang slapped his hand away and opened her eyes. Her vision was very blurry and she could not see clearly. She fainted after drinking a glass of wine. She was dizzy. I'm thirsty. Water. Lu Shuang said with a whimper. Coming. Shen Yan kissed her lips. Lu Shuang sucked hard. It was not enough to quench her thirst, but it was better than before. Shen Yan's tongue was hurt by her sucking. She left. Lu Shuang was not satisfied. She hooked her arms around the back of his neck. Shen Yan raised the corner of her mouth and took the initiative to touch her lips. She was like a baby. However, this could not calm down the boiling blood in her body. I feel uncomfortable. Lu Shuang looked at Shen Yan pitifully. Can you wait for another 6 months? Shen Yan said meaningfully. In 6 months, he could reach the top of the world. He could also control his own marriage. No, I feel uncomfortable now. Lu Shuang pushed him away. She wanted to go to the bathroom to take a cold shower to cool down. He pulled her. She was limp and had no strength at all. She sat on the bed. Shen Yan looked at her. Stop looking for a boyfriend. I'll marry you in the future. Lu Shuang saw his mouth moving. She seemed to have heard something, but she could not understand what it meant. The discomfort was getting worse. I want to go to the hospital. I'm going to die. Lu Shuang stood up. He carried her on his body and said wickedly, Can I help you treat it? She was in a daze for a few seconds. He placed her on the bed and his palm slid down the waist of her dress. Chapter 189. Lu Shuang didn't know what she wanted. The discomfort gradually subsided. After she was satisfied, she fell asleep. Shen Yan looked at her blushing face with infatuation and moved her bangs aside. He had fallen in love with her 3 years ago. Since he had never given up, he wasn't going to give up. He would cut off as many peach blossoms as she had. She would either die alone, or she would only have him. Baya got the information of the Diamond member who called Tony last that day. When she saw the information, she admitted that she was a little absent-minded. Su Shaoling. The last one to call Tony was actually Su Shaoling. Then, Mu Shaoxing should have been taken away by Su Zheng. The situation was more serious than she thought. If it was just an ordinary senior official, Gu Lingqing would just need to say a word. Su Zheng's rank was above Gu Lingqing's, and he was a popular candidate for the presidential election. It was not easy. Baya didn't dare to act rashly. She called Gu Lingqing. She heard a sound. Gu Lingqing picked up. Well, Gu Lingqing, I suspect that the person who took Mu Shaoxing away is Su Xiaoling's father, Su Zheng. What should we do next? Baya asked carefully. You said Tony, Cool Breeze, the women's club. I already guessed it was him. Don't worry, I have already dealt with it. Now Mu Shaoxing has been released. Don't interfere with what happens next. Mu Shaoxing will take full responsibility, Gu Lingqing said straightforwardly. Bai Ye, you already know. Why did you ask Director Zhang to investigate with me? She didn't understand. I'm just guessing. It's always right to have a two-way guarantee. I'll ask someone to send you back now. Have a good sleep tonight. See you tomorrow. Gu Lingqing finished and hung up the phone without giving her a chance to speak. See you tomorrow? Would he be back tomorrow? They had agreed to let each other go. Now that she owed him a meal, she couldn't refuse. He said it casually, but the process of letting Mu Shaoxing out was full of danger. She should have. Bai Ye went back. In order to have a good spirit tomorrow, she took the medicine and went to bed. In the morning, she woke up naturally. When she opened her eyes, she saw Gu Lingqing sleeping beside her, facing her. His hand naturally rested on her waist. Bai Ye was very surprised. Why are you here? Gu Lingqing didn't open his eyes. His Adam's apple bobbed. Sleep with me for a while more. She saw that he was really tired. When she talked to him yesterday, it was almost 9 o'clock. If he got on the train at 9 o'clock, it would be 4 o'clock when he arrived at City A. She did not speak or move. Initially, she didn't think that she would fall asleep. After all, she hadn't been sleeping well all this while and had to rely on medicine to maintain her sleep. However, unknowingly, she fell asleep again. I don't know how long. As soon as Gu Lingqing moved, Bai Ye woke up and opened his eyes. What time is it now? Gu Lingqing glanced at his phone. 12 o'clock. Bai Ye. She collapsed and sat up. Let's go. I'll treat you to dinner. Gu Lingqing pressed her shoulders down on the bed. Before dinner, do something else first. Bai Ye covered her mouth when she saw him kissing her on the lips. Gu Lingqing furrowed his brows. Bai Ye, don't make me angry. I haven't brushed my teeth yet, Bai Ye said gloomily. Gu Lingqing's gaze paused for a moment. He let go of her and walked into the washroom to brush his teeth and wash up. Bai Ye also walked over. Just as she squeezed out the toothpaste, she saw Gu Lingqing walk into the glass enclosure and take a shower in front of her. Bai Ye accidentally saw that he was already in a state where he was ready. She blushed and turned away. She brushed her teeth seriously, applied facial cleanser and washed her face. He was already standing behind her. He was only wrapped in a towel. He looked at her with a burning gaze. Do you want to take a shower? Bai Ye looked into his deep eyes. She saw the desire in his eyes and felt a little flustered. Why did it go back to the past? She shook her head. I've already taken a shower last night. I have to report to the Psychology Research Institute later. I've already skipped work in the morning. Gu Lingqing looked at her quietly. His eyes were tinged with anger. Aren't you a non-staff member? Mu Shaoxing said that you don't have to go to work. You're free to move around. Bai Ye, how did he know everything? She felt like she had shot herself in the foot. You're not willing? Gu Lingqing read her mind. Bai Ye lowered her head. Her eyes flickered. I'm hungry. I didn't eat lunch yesterday. I didn't eat much for dinner. I didn't eat anything for breakfast today. My stomach is hurting from hunger. Yeah, I was careless. I'll go eat first. Help me wash my clothes. Is that okay? Gu Lingqing asked. Bai Ye took a look. Specifically, he was talking about the underwear. The outerwear should be dry cleaned. For some strange reason, she nodded. Gu Lingqing smiled. He was satisfied with her answer and walked out of the washroom. Bai Ye vented her anger. Only then did she realize that he had brought his luggage with him. Don't you need to go to the military? Bai Ye asked in surprise. I'll go back in a while. There are still many things to do in the military, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Bai Ye quietly heaved a sigh of relief. He saw her reaction. He didn't say anything, but his gaze turned a little colder. He changed his clothes in front of her like an old married couple. Bai Ye was a little embarrassed. She took her clothes and went to the washroom to change before coming out. They went to the nearby Water Moon International to find a restaurant to eat. She still remembered that 3 years ago, they also came here to eat together. At that time, how good would it have been if they hadn't continued? Do you want ice cream? Gu Lingqing asked Bai Ye. Baya smiled when she saw the ice cream shop. It was still the same ice cream shop. The owner didn't change. Did you ask me for ice cream on our first date? I said no. You bought 3 and asked me to carry them for you. In the end, I ate the ice cream and you gave it to other kids. That sounds like something I would do. Gu Lingqing didn't deny it. You're two-faced? Baya commented. If that's the case, I should have liked you at that time, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baya paused for a moment. She looked at Gu Lingqing and met his gaze. Gu Lingqing sized her up. You don't believe that I like you? Baya didn't want to keep guessing with him. She wanted to be decisive and not waste each other's time. Gu Lingqing, the person you like should be Zhou Hailan. Gu Lingqing was very calm. There was no change of expression on his face. She couldn't understand him, and he couldn't understand her. Baya, have you ever loved Su Jiran? Gu Lingqing asked. Our situation is different. The result is the same, isn't it? Gu Lingqing asked. Chapter 190. She's dead, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice, with no other expression on his indifferent face. Baya's eyes turned red. She had seen a lot of people with marriage problems. They got married because they loved each other, but in the trifles of life, their advantages became disadvantages. Because they cared too much about each other, they restricted each other's freedom. They quarreled with each other, hurt each other, and the accumulated conflicts consumed the stored feelings. In the end, they broke up and separated. The good ones parted on good terms. The normal ones were like strangers. There were also some who were like enemies. Because they used to love each other, they didn't want to remember. Even if it was a beautiful past, it would be regarded as a past mistake. Therefore, the living will never be able to fight against the dead who are not together. Zhou Hailan left the best impression on him. She was sunny, positive, beautiful, and cheerful. Zhou Hailan died because of him. In his heart, she was a cinnabar mole that could never be erased. And she had a lot of shortcomings. The more they got to know each other, the more he felt that Zhou Hailan was good. She didn't want to see them hate each other in the future. More importantly, she couldn't stand the fact that the man she loved had another woman in his heart. She would rather not love such a man. Let's eat. Baya skipped the topic and walked into a French restaurant. Baya's phone rang. She saw that it was Lu Shuang's call and picked it up. Little Bai, something happened to me, Lu Shuang said in a sobbing voice. Baya's heart tightened and she asked worriedly, What's wrong? Yesterday, Lu Shuang found it hard to speak. Where are you now? I'm in your hotel now. Let's talk when we meet. 'Kay, I'll come back now, Baya said anxiously. She hung up and looked at Gu Lingqing. Something happened to Shuang Niu. I have to go back immediately. I'll treat you another day. Baya didn't wait for Gu Lingqing's reply. She grabbed her bag and ran out of the restaurant. Gu Lingqing watched Baya leave. His eyes darkened. He took out his phone and deleted all the photos of Zhou Hailan. Baya saw Lu Shuang in the lobby of the hotel. Lu Shuang's eyes were red, and she was still wearing the dress from yesterday. She was not in a good state of mind. Cool girl, what's wrong? Baya asked worriedly. Xiao Bai, do you know what happened to me yesterday? Who took me away? Lu Shuang asked worriedly. You said you took a fancy to a male bull. He told me not to look for you. Baya looked at Lu Shuang worriedly. What happened? I didn't fall in love with Lang Niu. I fell asleep unknowingly last night. When I woke up, I was lying in the hotel room. I was raped by someone. More importantly, that person took some bad pictures, Lu Shuang said with a pale face. Does the man look like in the video? No, the hotel also used my ID card to register. I wanted to check the CCTV, but the hotel staff said that their CCTV was broken yesterday. Lu Shuang was very upset. Although she looked very carefree and open-minded, she was still a little shy. In fact, she was very traditional. Otherwise, she wouldn't be alone until now. Let's go to the hospital for a checkup to make sure you are not sick. Then, we can consider whether to call the police or not, Baya said rationally. Let's go to a small hospital. I'm afraid of being recognized in a big hospital. Also, if we call the police, I feel very embarrassed. This kind of thing is easy to report. Lu Shuang was upset. Baya also felt very guilty. If only she didn't leave Lu Shuang alone. Did that man leave the condom? Lu Shuang found it hard to say it. His face turned red. He used 7 condoms and I took one. Aren't you working for the police now? See if you can get a fingerprint. Can't fingerprints be compared now? This needs to go through the procedures. I'm afraid I don't have that much power, but... Baya paused. Power was a good thing. In front of power, procedures could be ignored. Gu Lingqing should be able to help. I'll try. Baya said uncertainly. Then I'll leave it to you. Lu Shuang took out a sealed bag from his bag. When Baya took the sealed bag, she was also quite embarrassed. She accompanied Lu Shuang to the private hospital for a checkup. Lu Shuang couldn't accompany her in the room. Baya walked to the window at the end of the corridor, took out her phone, and looked at Gu Lingqing's phone number. She just asked Gu Lingqing to help deal with Mu Xiaoxing's matter yesterday. Now she needed his help again. It was quite embarrassing. She cheekily dialed the number. The phone was turned off. She guessed that he might be busy, so she sent a message to Gu Lingqing. I have something to talk to you about. Can you call me back when you are free? She put the phone in her bag and waited for Lu Shuang at the door for half an hour. Lu Shuang took the test report. There's no problem, right? Baya asked worriedly. Lu Shuang shook his head. No, he used a condom. But the more I think about it, the angrier I get. Is that person a pervert? He's doing bad things on video. He's crazy. If he wasn't crazy, he wouldn't have done such a thing. Baya agreed. She put her arm around Lu Shuang's shoulder. Have you eaten? Lu Shuang shook his head. Let's go eat. When we find that person, I'll sue him and go to jail for the rest of my life. Let's talk about it when we catch him. It was already 16 o'clock in the afternoon when they finished eating. Baya wanted to go to the research institute, and Lu Shuang followed her. When they came out of the elevator, they bumped into Su Xiaoling. Su Xiaoling was very surprised to see Baya. Her face turned white, red, and green. Why are you here? My Xiaobai is now a special psychiatrist here. Is there a problem? Lu Shuang said proudly. Special psychiatrist? You changed your profession? Su Xiaoling's face looked even worse. Baya smiled. She did not want to say much. Su Xiaoling's family background was too powerful. She did not want to provoke them. She pulled Lu Shuang away. Su Xiaoling looked at Baya's back. Can we talk in private? Why do you want to talk in private? My Xiaobai's time is very precious. It's 10,000 an hour. Do you want to see a doctor? I'll give you an hour to see a doctor. Lu Shuang stood in front of Baya and said, Okay, I'll give you 10,000 an hour. See a doctor. Su Xiaoling emphasized the last 2 words. Baya frowned slightly. Follow me. Xiaobai, ignore her, Lu Shuang said worriedly. Even if I ignore her, it doesn't mean she won't pester me. It's better to leave. Wait for me in the reception room. There's a computer in the reception room. Baya said to Lu Shuang. Anyway, we're sisters. No matter what decision you make, I'll support you. Lu Shuang raised his fist to cheer. Baya entered the office and sat down. Su Xiaoling threw her phone in front of Baya. Chapter 191. Baya could tell from her provocative and hateful eyes that she would definitely be sad if she saw the things in the album. Since she didn't feel good after seeing it, why did she want to see it? Knowing how to refuse was an important lesson in life. Baya put her phone aside and said with a smile, Aren't you here to see a doctor? Tell me your symptoms. My man doesn't love me. Su Xiaoling raised the corner of her mouth and looked straight at Baya. He loves a dead woman. Baya understood and understood, so when she said it, she didn't feel too shocked and stunned. And then? Baya asked calmly. He has a secret room. I sneaked in. Inside, there are photos and belongings of that dead woman. That woman has been dead for many years. I've waited for him for so many years, but I can't even get a look from him. I can't accept it. Su Xiaoling said excitedly and stared at Baya. You lost him, but you lost a man who doesn't love you. He lost you, but he lost a woman who loves him. You've wasted the past 10 years of youth, and there's no point in wasting it anymore. Without him, every day is a sunny day for you. You can meet many outstanding men and do what you want to do. With him, her heart is raining every day, complaining, sad, unwilling, and collapsing. For your own good, I think giving up is also a kind treatment for yourself. Baya said softly, as if she was treating her like a real patient. The thing I want to do the most is to be with him. I don't like other men at all. Su Shaoling said with a cold face. He might think so too. It's the most uncomfortable to want something but not get it. You need to adjust your state of mind. The psychiatrist only tells you the method. Whether you want to use it or not, no one can force you. Sometimes, a lot of things are not forced on you by others, but by yourself. It's easy to say, what if it's you? What would you do if your fiancé or husband had a dead woman in his heart? Su Shaoling stared at Baya. What would you do? Su Shaoling asked. No matter how sad I am, no matter how unwilling I am, no matter how wronged I feel, I will chase this person out of my heart. Since he doesn't love me, why should I love him? Since I will never be able to enter his heart, I would rather stay away from this person who makes me sad, Baya said lightly. Can you do it? Su Xiaoling's eyes were red. Why do you think I left here to study abroad? Baya asked. Then why did you come back now? Su Shaoling pointed at the ground and said hatefully. Because I've already stopped loving, Baya said clearly. He looked at her and smiled. I still remember when I first met you 3 years ago. Although you were arrogant, domineering, unruly, and willful, you were young and beautiful. Even in a crowd, you were the most eye-catching one. Look at you now. You are sallow and emaciated. Because of taking care of yourself, or because you are in a bad mood, smoking and drinking, your complexion is very bad. The corners of your eyes are also full of wrinkles, acne, and spots. You look sickly. When you walk on the road, you look like a woman who has suffered a lot at home. Is it worth it for a man who doesn't love you? Baya asked. It's easy to say. Is it because you have never gotten it? Su Shaoling said angrily. Do you think I have never loved Su Jiran? I have loved him. I love him very much. Even though I know he hired someone to kidnap me, I still walked into marriage with him without hesitation. Why do you think I walked into marriage with him? Baya said with a smile. Her eyes were misty. Su Shaoling fixed her eyes on Baya. Although she was not clear about the things between Baya and Su Jiran, she knew that Su Jiran had many girlfriends. At that time, she was thinking who would be so unlucky to marry Su Jiran. It was equivalent to marrying a bus. Later, she found out that the person who married Su Jiran was Baya. In an instant, all her arrogance disappeared. She lowered her head and tears flowed out. The girl who was once so proud and stubborn shed tears in front of her love rival. If it was not an emotional breakdown, it would take a lot of courage. There are several kinds of feelings in this world. Family, friendship, love, and a third kind of feeling. 80% of people don't have love, friendship, and even family is indifferent. Their lovers go from being in love to not being in love. Their friends don't really care about them either. Usually, after a meal, they come together because of a common interest or a common dislike of someone. But the boat of friendship can capsize at any time. Because they pay too much attention to love, they don't have enough energy for other things. If the parents only have one child, it's fine. If there are too many children, the relationship will be different because of the frequency of contact. There will be complaints, and even hatred. Su Shaoling, you are actually very lucky. You have parents who love you, and you have a brother who loves you. Your only mistake is that you fell in love with a man who will never fall in love with you. For this man, you hurt your family, friends, and yourself. Is it worth it? Baya said softly. Su Xiaoling's face was already full of tears. She raised her head and looked at Baya. How should I walk out from this? Baya, teach me. Human life is very short. Ask yourself honestly. If I give you 50 years, can you make Gu Lingqing look back? Baya said cruelly. Su Shaoling shook her head. Impossible. In his heart, there is only the dead Zhou Hailan. The average lifespan of people in our country is 72 years. You should be 30 years old this year. That's still 42 years. She had a one-sided love for Gu Lingqing since a long time ago. She had never truly enjoyed love. She had never been loved by a man who wasn't her family. Su Jiran, let go of the past and have a good relationship. If you can't find the man you love the most, then find a man who loves you the most. As she said this, Bai Ye's eyes turned red. Wasn't she saying it for her to hear? Su Shaoling frowned. It was hard for her to say it. She wiped her tears and looked at Bai Ye. She gathered her courage and said, I have syphilis. It's not like it can't be cured. In the future, love yourself and others. Find a man who loves you and take the necessary measures. Slowly cure it just like how you cure your heart. Everything will be fine, Bai Ye said calmly. For no reason, tears flowed down her face. Su Xiaoling's situation was similar to hers. They both fell in love with a man who only loved a woman to death. In the process of curing Su Xiaoling, she also found a way to cure herself. Chapter 192. After Su Xiaoling left, Bai Ye needed to adjust her state. She raised a cup of tea and stood by the window, looking at the passers-by outside. Some of them were full of smiles and full of vigor, some of them were pale and distressed, and some of them hid all their emotions and became indifferent. All kinds of expressions, moods, and states. Perhaps this was life. Everyone was lucky to be born into the world. God gave them this opportunity to experience life. In life, there were ups and downs. Happy, sad, worried, and leisurely. Those who were not satisfied would feel happy when they ate a meat bun. Those who were not easily satisfied, even if they had the Manchu Han imperial feast, would think that there was a dish missing and become unhappy. She should have no desires, so that she would not be tired. Willing you have to give up to get. She missed the scenery of Gu Lingqing. Perhaps she could see another scenery that was not bad. She should really give up. Her phone rang. She saw that it was Gu Lingqing, so she answered it calmly. Bai Ye, do you think it's easier to get things done with the chief or with your boyfriend? Gu Lingqing asked in a deep voice. Bai Ye was a little absent-minded. Because of his words, she almost lost her mind and influenced her decision. She was silent for a while. It's important to know one's own limits. I don't live in the same world as you, chief. Then why did you call me? Gu Lingqing hung up the phone unhappily. Bai Ye, it was good that he took the initiative to hang up the phone. Otherwise, what she said next might not be pleasant to hear. Bai Ye put her phone in her bag, walked to Mu Xiaoxing's office, knocked on the door, and pushed it in. Standing in front of the whiteboard, Mu Xiaoxing was very anxious. When he saw Bai Ye come in, it was as if he had seen his savior. Come, help me analyze who killed Tony. Who could it be? Deputy Chief Su asked me to solve the case in 3 days. How is that possible? Bai Ye glanced at the whiteboard. Is Su Xiaoling a suspect? There is a motive. She was infected with syphilis at Tony's place, so she asked Tony to go. She also said that she wanted to kill Tony, but it was not worth it, so she let Tony go. What time did she let Tony go? What time did Tony die? Who else did Tony see in between? Bai Ye asked. The forensics department hasn't gotten the information yet. Do you know Chen Jing's apartment? Su Xiaoling rented a hotel apartment there, which was convenient for dating. Tony went there at 10 o'clock in the evening. Strangely, he did not see the video of Tony coming out of Su Xiaoling's room. Then, at 5 o'clock the next morning, a worker working in a public toilet found his body. Mu Xiaoxing was puzzled. Get the police to check Su Xiaoling's room and see if there's any blood on the floor. Then ask Su Xiaoling if she saw Tony leave the room. Also, don't stay in your office. You should go to the police station. They will get the information from the forensics department as soon as possible and give you the details. I'll go to the police station later. The forensics department should have the results. Mu Xiaoxing put down his pen. I'll go to the police station later. The forensics department should have the results. Mu Xiaoxing put down his pen. Well, Shaoxing, for example, I want to test DNA or extract fingerprints for comparison. Do you have any connections that can help? Baya asked. If I had any connections, would I still be waiting for the forensics department's results? I asked them to give me the results within an hour, not so long, Mu Shaoxing said irritably. Baya thought about it and agreed. After all, this was a series of procedures. Unless she thought of Gu Lingqing again. An idea flashed through Baya's mind. She went to look for Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang was playing games. When he saw Baya coming over, he looked at the computer. Are you off work? Wait for me. I'll be playing soon. Baya sat on the sofa. Her phone rang. It was Gu Lingqing. She hesitated for a while and answered, but she didn't say anything. Gu Lingqing didn't say anything either. Baya waited for a while. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. I've squeezed out some time tonight. Do you want to continue with the lunch? You still owe me a meal, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Baya looked at Lu Shuang. Did you find out where Lu Shuang lives if not in the military? Yes, I know. What's wrong? I'll cook a few dishes, Baya invited. I'll be there at around 7. Baya hung up. Lu Shuang was already standing in front of her. He smiled slyly. Who are you inviting to my place for dinner? Your new boyfriend? Gu Lingqing, don't go away this time. Baya stood up and held Lu Shuang's arm. Let's go. We'll report to the police station first. I'll say that I was raped. I'll provide a condom and let the police go through the normal procedures. They should be able to find the culprit soon. Lu Shuang was completely stunned. You're involved with Gu Lingqing again? Also, if you report to the police, it will affect your reputation. It's not good. Forget it. I'll just take it that I was bitten by a dog. Anyway, it's not the first time I was bitten by a dog. It's fine as long as I'm not sick. I don't care about my reputation. I can't let the culprit get away with it. Forget it, when the time comes, you will go to jail for slandering me. Forget it, it's better to avoid trouble. Forget it, I won't say anything, it won't affect my marriage. If this matter gets blown up, I will become a laughingstock in the military, and my parents will also be implicated. Forget it, forget it, forget it. Tell me, what's going on between you and Gu Lingqing? Lu Shuang asked worriedly. There's nothing going on between me and him? I owe him a favor. I'll treat him to a meal and we'll be even, Baya said calmly. You have to think carefully. Gu Lingqing's family won't accept you. You finally have a stable life. If you lose your life in a relationship, it's not worth it, Lu Shuang reminded her. I know what I'm doing. Don't worry, Baya said with a smile. She went to buy pork ribs, winter gourd, sword beans, shredded meat, tomatoes, eggs, green peppers, and beef. She made beef ribs with green peppers, eggs with tomatoes, shredded meat, and winter gourd and pork rib soup. Gu Lingqing came on time. He brought roses and red wine. He took off his military uniform and changed into a black suit. His posture was straight. When Lu Shuang saw Gu Lingqing, he was still a little scared. He stood up and greeted respectfully, Chief. Gu Lingqing nodded and passed the roses to Baya. He said in a deep voice, After dinner, accompany me to a place. After that, you can tell me your final decision. No matter what your decision is, I'll respect it. Baya paused. Chapter 193. Baya had a lot on her mind as she ate. She peeked at Gu Lingqing. He was well-mannered. He ate slowly and looked at Baya. His eyes met hers. Baya felt a little guilty, and her eyes flickered away. He picked up a piece of pork rib and put it in Baya's bowl. You should eat more. You're too skinny. It won't be easy for you to get pregnant if you're so skinny, Gu Lingqing said seriously. Baya blushed. Get pregnant? What was he thinking? Lu Shuang looked at Gu Lingqing suspiciously. Then he looked at Baya and then at Gu Lingqing. He was still looking at Baya. There was only Baya in his eyes. She lost her memory but she could find it again. Was that love? Bureau Chief, do you like Little White? Lu Shuang was straightforward and asked directly. Baya was nervous. She held her chopsticks and lowered her head, pretending that she didn't care about the answer. Just when she thought that he wouldn't answer, he answered, Bai Ya's hands were trembling. Lu Shuang held Bai Ya's hands and looked at Gu Lingqing. What if your parents object? Your family is powerful, but we, Bai Ya, have nothing. With my current status, I can marry freely. I won't be restricted by anyone, Gu Lingqing promised. Lu Shuang smiled and looked at Bai Ya. He realized that Bai Ya's face was dark. She couldn't see any joy. Then, when are you going to marry Bai Ya? You lost your memory, but Bai Ya didn't. You guys have talked about it before. You have to be responsible for Xiaobai, Lu Shuang pressed. Cool girl, Bai Ya interrupted Lu Shuang. I don't need anyone to be responsible. Seeing that Bai Ya was angry, Lu Shuang immediately shut up. I'll take responsibility. Gu Lingqing promised Bai Ya. Bai Ya smiled faintly, but there was a mystery in his eyes that he couldn't see through. Does Chief Gu think that I can't support myself or that I can't find a boyfriend? I don't need you to be responsible for me. I can still live a good life. I can also find a man who likes me. Weakling, I am not a weakling. Gu Lingqing's eyes darkened, and his tone was very unpleasant. Who else do you want to look for? Seeing that Gu Lingqing was about to get angry, Lu Shuang hurriedly said, Bai Ya didn't mean that she would find a boyfriend even if leader Gu didn't want her. Did I say that I don't want you anymore? Gu Lingqing stared at Bai Ya. I don't need it, Bai Ya replied. You just don't want me anymore, right? Gu Lingqing slammed his chopsticks on the table and quickly left Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang looked at Gu Lingqing, then looked at Bai Ya. He became anxious and said to Bai Ya, What are you doing? Wasn't the atmosphere quite good just now? Although Gu Lingqing is a harsh and resolute person, he is a man of his word. If he says that he will be responsible for you, he will definitely be responsible for you. Xiaobai, I think you're wrong. Cool girl, I know what I'm doing, Bai Ya said rationally. You'll push him far away like this. Lu Shuang was anxious. He rushed to the window and saw Gu Lingqing smoking under the street lamp. Xiaobai, she hasn't left yet. It's not too late if you chase after her. If a person can be pushed far away because of a push, do you think that he will last long? Forget it. I'll wash the dishes. Bai Ya took the dishes to the kitchen. Her phone rang. She saw it was Mu Xiaoxing and answered the phone. What's wrong? Have you finished dinner? Mu Xiaoxing asked. Yes, I'm washing the dishes now. What's wrong? Bai Ya was puzzled. Then let's have supper together? There's crayfish in the market now. I'll treat you to some. Hee hee, Mu Xiaoxing invited enthusiastically. Tell me what's the matter. You don't have to beat around the bush with me. Bai Ya was a little impatient. Mu Xiaoxing frowned and said softly, My case is blocked by someone. That person needs to invite you out through me. Bai Ya was puzzled. Your ex-husband, Mu Xiaoxing said apologetically. Bai Ya paused. Su Jiaran took Mu Xiaoxing's phone and said, Xiao Ya. Threats, inducements, coercion. After so many years, you still haven't changed at all. Bai Ya curled up the corner of her mouth and said sarcastically, I want to see you, but I'm afraid you won't come out. In a few days, I may have good news to tell you, Su Jiaran said softly. If I don't come out, will you block Mu Xiaoxing? Bai Ya asked coldly. Blocking is not my purpose. I just want to see you. Then don't block him. It's too late today. Tomorrow, I'll treat you to lunch tomorrow. Bai Ya said straightforwardly. Based on her understanding of Su Jiaran, he was a person who would not give up until he achieved his goal. She had to see him eventually. However, she was a little tired and upset today. On the surface, nothing seemed to happen, but in fact, her heart was heavy, as if something was pressing on it. Okay, see you tomorrow. I'll pick you up at the research institute. Good night, Su Jiaran said softly. Bai Ya hung up the phone, put the bowl in the cupboard, and turned around. Lu Shuang stood at the door and looked at her worriedly. Let me tell you my opinion. Su Jiaran is a prodigal son who has turned back. In the 3 years when you were away, he was really clean and self-disciplined. He didn't get involved with anything and waited for you to come back. As for Gu Lingqing, he is unattainable and not easy to talk to. He is relatively dull. The key is that he lost his memory. If he didn't lose his memory, Maybe it would be a good choice. After all, now his parents can't control him. Baya lowered her eyes. She remembered what Lung Chiozuan said about Su Jeron. Just in time, she wanted to ask him in detail tomorrow. Let nature take its course. Plans can't keep up with changes. In this world, we can't do whatever we want. We can take one step at a time and see the scenery. It's good to be carefree. Baya smiled. Xiaoya, I really feel that you're different from before. You used to be stubborn, but now you look so open-minded and fairy-like, Lu Shuang said in admiration. I'm also stubborn now. But even if I know it's a stubborn problem, because my cognition is there, I can't convince myself not to do it, so I just don't struggle. Baya shrugged. I'm leaving. If I don't leave now, it'll be late. Lu Shuang hugged Baya. Move in with me. Don't you think it's expensive to stay in a hotel alone? Baya tapped Lu Shuang's nose. You're in the military 6 days a week. I'll be lonely here. There are many people in the hotel, and it's close to my workplace. With my current salary, it's not a problem for me to stay in a hotel. All right then, I'll share a bed with you during the holidays. Baya smiled. She walked out of the staircase. Suddenly, her arm was held. Gu Lingqing was pulling her away. She didn't expect Gu Lingqing to still be here. What? Baya didn't understand. Chapter 194. Baya did not know where he was taking her. Anyway, it was impossible for Gu Lingqing to do anything to her. How long will it take? Baya looked at the dark night outside the window and asked. About an hour and a half, Gu Lingqing replied. Call me when we arrive. She leaned back on the chair and closed her eyes. Gu Lingqing took off his suit and put it on her. Baya was not asleep. She could smell the faint smell of tobacco on his clothes. Was he smoking just now? She did not like the smell of tobacco. She opened her eyes and looked at him. 3 years had passed. Gu Lingqing had become more mature. He was introverted and did not like to talk. However, he still gave people a reassuring feeling. This was probably the characteristic of a soldier. Don't smoke in the future. It's not good for your health, Baya said gently. I didn't like to smoke in the past. I often had insomnia in the past 3 years. My condition is not good. The pressure from work is also great. I smoke a little too much. Now, I'm used to smoking. You have to supervise me in the future, Gu Lingqing said seriously. Baya turned around and faced the window. She did not speak. The window reflected her and Gu Lingqing's shadows. Chief, can I do a psychological test for you? Baya asked gently. Go ahead. If you're watching a horror movie, where do you think the ghost will appear? 1. The elevator, 2. The toilet, 3. Under the table, and 4. The locker. Baya looked at Gu Lingqing. I never watch horror movies. I don't believe in ghosts in this world, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Baya, let's change the question. You're walking on the road one day and you see a person almost getting hit. You want the person to be a woman, a man, a child, and an elderly. Choose. Baya was a little angry. He did not cooperate at all. What does it have to do with me whether the person is hit or not? Gu Lingqing was confused. Baya did not want to talk to him anymore. She turned her face away. Gu Lingqing frowned. If I had to choose, it would be a man. Baya understood and nodded. I understand. What do you know? Can you let me know the result? Gu Lingqing asked. The person who chooses the second option is resolute, courageous, resolute, straightforward, and rational. However, they are afraid of trouble and are not easily attracted by the temptations of the outside world. They also have their own goals and thoughts, and are more level-headed. They are the best choice for a partner. Baya did not want to say the last sentence. Gu Lingqing raised the corner of her lips. Her smile was very faint, so it was not easy to notice. Do you know why I chose B? Old people are old. Even if they were almost hit, it would cause their blood pressure to rise, and their hearts would not be able to bear it. The child was still too young and easily frightened, causing trauma. Women were too troublesome. Men are agile. As long as they dodge it, this matter is basically over. Gu Lingqing analyzed. I think you have a prejudice against women. What's troublesome about women? Baya asked. When a woman is almost hit, she will definitely call her boyfriend to complain. She might even find the driver to argue with. Gu Lingqing, you haven't found a girlfriend for so many years because you are afraid of trouble, right? Baya interrupted him. If it were me, do you think I would call you and cry, or would I argue with the driver? So I know why I liked you in the past, Gu Lingqing said directly, looking at Baya with a burning gaze. Baya's heart was trembling, especially his gaze. It made her feel very uncomfortable. Drive, look ahead. Gu Lingqing replied. Baya lowered her eyes. What was strange about women was that even though they knew that there was another woman in the other party's heart, they would still continue to test and test, wanting to prove that they were in the other party's heart. Because of this little bit of hope, they would soften and surrender. They would think that they could replace that woman's position. But the truth was, in this world, the most difficult thing to control was the human heart. If it was too close, people would naturally reject it. If it was too far, people would naturally ignore it. It was just right. However, no one would be able to grasp the perfect distance. Baya felt sad, and her eyes were also trembling. She didn't want to cry in front of Gu Lingqing, so she forced herself not to think too much. Sometimes, it would be painful to see too clearly. Foolishness, ignorance, and self-righteousness were the happiest. For example, children who thought little, couldn't think clearly, and were forgetful. Unknowingly, they arrived at Gu Lingqing's military area. When the soldiers saw that it was Gu Lingqing's car, they all saluted. However, when it came to the second checkpoint, someone would come to check. This was the strict requirement that Gu Lingqing had for his own military area. After the check, the soldiers saluted again. Baya came to his military area more than 3 years ago. Compared to the past, there was a lot of change, and a few more buildings were built. However, Gu Lingqing still lived in the same place as before. She followed him and went to the basement. Baya thought of the secret room that Su Shaoling mentioned. Although she didn't show it at that time, she felt uncomfortable in her heart. The closer she got to that door, the more she resisted getting closer. Why did you bring me here? Baya stopped. Gu Lingqing didn't force her and pushed the door of the secret room open. Baya walked in subconsciously, and what she saw was her photo. She looked at Gu Lingqing in surprise. She was so nervous that her hands were trembling. Gu Lingqing held her hand and walked in. The secret room was full of her photos. Some of them were taken from her QQ space that she hadn't used for a long time, and some were taken by him in secret. I hung these photos in the afternoon, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice and took a red jewelry box from the table. Baya glanced at the jewelry box and looked at Gu Lingqing. He looked at her deeply, as serious as ever, but there was a heart-wrenching pain in his eyes. 3 years ago, I woke up from the operating room bed. My mind was on fire, and I went back to a mission a long time ago. In this mission, all the people I brought with me died. Only one spy survived, and my girlfriend, Zhou Hailan, died at the same time. My memory didn't include you at all. From that day onwards, I kept dreaming of a girl crying. She kept shouting, Gu Lingqing, where are you? I thought that girl was Zhou Hailan. I don't have any impression of you. I'm sorry, I forgot about you, Gu Lingqing explained. Baya turned her face away. The memory of the past was too painful. When she recalled it, her face was already covered in tears. It wasn't until I met you 3 years ago that I felt strangely familiar with you. I went to ask about you, and it seemed like someone had purposely erased part of your past. I also went to your school to visit you many times, and as time went by, I felt more and more like the girl who was crying and looking for me was you. Baya. Chapter 195. Women had the softest heart. Quarreling with her boyfriend was not to break up, but to let him be what she wanted him to be. Getting angry with her boyfriend was not to break up, but to find out if he had her in his heart. She was the same. She didn't care if he was rich, powerful, or handsome. Even if he didn't have money or a house, she was willing to be with him. She just hoped that he had her in his heart, so that she wouldn't feel aggrieved no matter what sacrifice she had to make. She was afraid that he didn't have her in his heart. Then she would really feel aggrieved. Baya wanted to give herself a chance, one last chance. It could be considered as doing her best for her last love. She pointed at his heart with her index finger. "Do you have me here?" Gu Lingqing looked at her deeply and said firmly, "Can you let me replace Zhou Heilan's position in your heart?" Baya asked with reddened eyes. "I'm already doing it," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. "I'll marry you. In the future, as long as you don't let me down, no matter how hard it is, I'll be with you." Baya made up her mind. Gu Lingqing knelt on one knee on the ground. "We'll get our marriage certificate tomorrow." Military marriages couldn't be divorced. Once they got married, there was no medicine for regret. Baya hesitated for a moment, and she felt a chill on her ring finger. Gu Lingqing put it on her finger, held her hand, lowered his head, and kissed her forehead. "You promised me, so don't say the word break up again." "I definitely won't say it either." "But," Baya replied chokingly, and her tears continued to flow. Gu Lingqing kissed her tears, and slowly moved down to her soft lips. Baya closed her eyes and kissed him back. Gu Lingqing's breathing became heavier, and her breathing became erratic. He carried her on a long table, and his large palm unbuttoned her jeans, took them off, and placed them on the chair. Baya could feel his solid presence. It was very deep and very hot. It was getting hotter and hotter. She collapsed weakly. Gu Lingqing wrapped his arms around her shoulders and supported all of her weight. He wasn't in a hurry and did a good job. Baya's gaze gradually became unfocused. She clutched his arm tightly. As she screamed, he kissed her lips, swallowed her voice, and kissed her crazily. Baya's thoughts drifted to another space, and she allowed him to kiss her. A minute later, he placed her on the table and gave himself over to his senses. "Xiaoya, give me a child," Gu Lingqing said hoarsely. Baya slowly came back to her senses. Because of what had just happened, she looked at him with a sensuality and bewitchment that had yet to fade away. She couldn't have children while she was still on medication. She had to stop taking the medicine for at least 3 months before she could have a child. But once she stopped taking the medicine, would her insomnia be cured? While she was in a trance, he also arrived. His abdomen was tight, and his chocolate-like abs were full of explosive power. He wasn't in a hurry to come out, and he kissed her forehead gently. "Stay at my place tonight." Baya replied. He draped his clothes over her. His clothes were very big, and she could wear them as a dress. He carried her to his room, placed her in the bathtub, and turned on the water to bathe her. Baya thought of a problem. "I can't stay at your place tonight. My clothes are still at the hotel." Gu Lingqing took a shower. "You don't have to worry about that. I'll get someone to bring your luggage over. After we get our marriage certificate tomorrow, I'll buy a house near your workplace as a wedding house. Do you want Mao Pei's house, or a renovated one? I'll buy it with you when I'm free." Baya's heart felt a little wet. Gu Lingqing was still as meticulous as ever, arranging everything in an orderly manner. "Buy Mao Pei's house. What style do you like for the renovations?" Baya asked seriously. Gu Lingqing was done bathing, and he also finished washing up. He wrapped a towel around himself and kissed Baya's forehead. "As long as you like it. Don't soak for too long, or you'll catch a cold. I'll get someone to prepare a pillow." Baya replied, and watched as Gu Lingqing left. She looked at the ring on her finger. It was 3 carats, very bright, and very shiny, so bright that her eyes hurt a little. In the end, she still married Gu Lingqing. She lowered her head and kissed the ring. She got up from the bathtub and wrapped a towel around herself. Gu Lingqing didn't have her toiletries here, so she wanted to rinse her mouth. Gu Lingqing walked in. He changed into his usual pajamas and gave her new toiletries and a black undershirt. Baya took it. "You can use these toiletries and leave them with me. I'll still come often in the future. The undershirt is mine. Wash it and wear it to sleep," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Okay." After Baya brushed her teeth and washed her face, she sniffed the clothes that Gu Lingqing gave her. The clothes had a fragrant smell. She changed and went out of the bathroom. Gu Lingqing laid the pillow and quilt. You sleep inside? Gu Lingqing asked. She was used to sleeping alone, but a long time ago, when she slept with Gu Lingqing, she did sleep inside. Yes. Baiya went to bed first. She looked at the time. It was almost 12 o'clock. She put her phone under the pillow. Gu Lingqing took her phone away, put it on the bedside table and explained, phones have radiation. Baiya responded, with her back facing him. Gu Lingqing turned off the light. She didn't take the medicine and stared at the air in a daze. Behind her, Gu Lingqing breathed evenly. She forced herself to close her eyes, but she still couldn't sleep. She turned around and faced him. He closed his eyes, and his breathing was very light. Even when he slept, he was so elegant and noble, like a prince. Gu Lingqing suddenly opened his eyes. Baiya was caught red-handed and was shocked. Can't sleep? Gu Lingqing asked. His voice was hoarse, with the intoxication of the night. Just sleep, don't worry about me. I can't sleep either. Let's do something else? Gu Lingqing invited. Didn't we do it before? I only did it with you once a night before. Gu Lingqing was very curious. Not really. That was different. It was very difficult for me to see you at that time. It was inevitable that I would be aroused and want to separate, so I didn't control myself. Besides, you were in your 20s at that time. I heard you say that I was your first woman, Baiya said softly. Now, I'm also the only one, Gu Lingqing said with certainty. Baiya's heart palpitated. She turned over and covered his body. Looking at his resolute face, she was the first to blush. Then, let's do something. Chapter 196. Half an hour later, Baiya and Gu Lingqing fell asleep. They didn't even take a shower. It was indeed easier to fall asleep after exercising early in the morning. Baiya heard birds chirping. When she opened her eyes, it was dawn. She looked to the side. Gu Lingqing wasn't there anymore. She picked up the phone on the bedside table and looked at it. It was only 5:30. Gu Lingqing woke up early. She saw her suitcase next to the coffee table. She didn't even know when he put the suitcase in the room. She got out of bed and opened the suitcase. Everything was there. She changed her clothes and walked into the bathroom. There was a new set of cosmetics from Lanmer on the sink. She remembered that a long time ago, the first set of cosmetics he gave her was from this brand. It seemed that he loved this international brand. Baiya smiled slightly. After washing up, she was about to wash her clothes when she realized that the clothes she changed out of yesterday were gone. She went out. Morning, the orderly greeted her respectfully. Baiya was too embarrassed to ask about her clothes. Where's Gu Lingqing? Baiya asked. The chief should be at the training ground now. He'll be back at 6. If you're hungry, you can have breakfast first, the orderly said with a smile. Madam? The word was unfamiliar, but now it made her feel happy. I'll go out and look for him. As soon as Baiya stepped out of the door, she saw Gu Lingqing walking over, followed by Lieutenant Colonel Song and 2 colonels. Lieutenant Colonel Song was reporting something. Gu Lingqing listened expressionlessly and nodded from time to time. She saw that he was busy with work, so she didn't disturb him. She turned around and walked into the room. Gu Lingqing had already seen her, but he didn't call out to her. Instead, he ordered Lieutenant Colonel Song, cancel the meeting at 8 in the morning. Also, find a good wedding company and arrange a romantic wedding. I want to get married. The chief is getting married? Lieutenant Colonel Song was surprised. Bastard, the chief is already 32 years old. Can't he get married? The colonel scolded. Yes, I'll do it in a moment. Lieutenant Colonel Song nodded. All of you are dismissed. Gu Lingqing ordered and walked into the room. Baiya was not in the living room. Where's Madam? Gu Lingqing asked the attendant. He just returned to his room, the orderly reported. Let's prepare breakfast. While saying that, Gu Lingqing pushed the door open and went inside. Baiya was sitting on the sofa playing with her phone. When she saw him, she stood up. You guys finished talking so quickly? Gu Gu Lingqing held her waist. You don't have to hide from me anymore. Baiya smiled. The harem is not allowed to interfere with politics. It's better to stay away from it. What you're talking about is military secrets. If anything goes wrong, I'll be the main suspect. It's safest not to know. That makes sense. There will be a document for you later. Your research institute has already approved it, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baiya was confused. What document is for me? What did the research institute approve? Xiong Jiqing and Xiong Chang'an's incident made me realize that we need to strengthen the psychological construction of soldiers. You're the expert in this area. Directly hire the special forces for 3 months. The specific plan will be discussed in the meeting in the afternoon. Why didn't I know about this? The document is direct. If you go to your research institute in the morning, you should be able to get it from Mu Shaoxing. Baiya, why did she feel that he acted first and reported later? If I don't accept your proposal, will this document still be valid? Baiya asked suspiciously. Whether you accept my proposal or not, this document will be sent to you, Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. Baiya stared at him. In the past, were you pursuing Zhou Hailan or was it Zhou Hailan who pursued you? You're too autocratic. You're the only girl that I've ever pursued, Gu Lingqing explained. Baiya slightly raised the corner of her mouth. This satisfied her vanity as a woman. Gu Lingqing saw her smile and also raised a smile. Baiya, there's one thing I want to tell you in advance. In a military marriage, the non-soldier party has to file for divorce, unless I have made a serious mistake. I understand. She knew it. She had thought about it yesterday. You and I will act first and report later. If my parents' people make things difficult for you, you don't have to pay attention to it. You're living with me, not with them. In fact, I can't see them for a while in a month now, so you don't have to worry about it. Baiya nodded. She had experienced his style of acting first and reporting later. The current Baiya was no longer the Baiya of the past. She was more ruthless, rational, and cold than the past Baiya. The last one, the wedding banquet. Do you want it to be a big one or just a gathering of close relatives? Gu Lingqing asked. Gu Lingqing asked her because he respected her opinion. However, he was the chief, so it would be inappropriate if the wedding was not a big one. I'll listen to you, I don't mind. Gu Lingqing smiled. Let's have breakfast first, then we'll go to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Asterisk on the way to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Baiya looked out of the window. She felt uneasy, as if everything was just a dream. She was going to be Gu Lingqing's wife soon. She thought about it a lot, especially about her and Gu Lingqing's child. If she told Gu Lingqing, would he be able to find it? Or was the child already dead, and it was just an empty celebration? If she told Gu Lingqing about the child, it would definitely involve the rape incident 6 years ago. She was conflicted. Gu Lingqing's phone rang. Baiya came back to her senses and looked at Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing saw the caller ID and frowned slightly. He picked up the phone. Mom, what's up? I heard that you're getting married. Who are you going to marry? Song Shiu asked in surprise. You're very well informed. You should know Baiya, right? Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. He looked ahead with a deep gaze. His face was expressionless, but there was a hint of coldness and harshness. Why are you marrying her? How long have you known each other? Song Shiu was shocked. I've known her for a long time. You should know this very well, Gu Lingqing said with certainty. His eyes were full of sarcasm. Baiya told you? Song Shiu was shocked, and there was a hint of panic in her shock. I just recovered some of my memories. Baiya didn't say anything. Alright, I'm busy now. I'll contact you later. Since I'm marrying her, I'll definitely bring her back to visit. We don't accept it, Song Shiu said with certainty. It's up to you whether you accept it or not. I'm just informing you. Gu Lingqing didn't give Song Shiu any chance to speak and hung up the phone. Baiya's phone rang. She saw that it was Song Shiu's call and picked it up. Baiya, what are you doing? You promised to leave Lingqing, Song Shiu asked angrily. I'm sorry, I regret it. Chapter 197. Have you forgotten your lesson? Song Shiyu warned. Previously, Song Shiyu and Gu Tianhang had kidnapped her and threatened Gu Lingqing to marry Su Shaoling. They had even chopped off her fingers. Her heart ached when she thought about it. Baiya became colder and colder. She pursed her lips and said, "I've already written this down. This incident refers to the time when you kidnapped me 3 years ago. The reason why I was kidnapped was related to Governor Cheng. I used my real name for all the people who appeared. I put this information in a black box in the United States for my friends' safekeeping. With my current reputation in the industry, my autobiography will definitely be believed by many professionals abroad. Even if it's fake, many people will make a fuss about it. Moreover, it's true and there's evidence to back it up." "Are you crazy? Do you know how many people will suffer if you expose this?" "It might shake the foundation," Song Shiyu said anxiously. "It doesn't depend on me. It depends on whether you're crazy or not. As long as it doesn't endanger my interests and life, I hope to live in peace. But if even my life is threatened, I'm sorry, but I don't have the time and energy to care about others. I only know who killed me," Baiya said coldly. There was a sharp light in her eyes. "Does Gu Lingqing know that you're so cunning?" Song Shiyu asked with a pale face. Many people often forget or hide what they've done when they're questioning others. "Speaking of cunning and cunning, Mrs. Song, have you ever reflected on yourself?" Baiya said calmly. "What a glib tongue. I won't agree to let you marry into the Gu family," Song Shiyu said angrily. Baiya smiled. "It doesn't matter whether you agree or not. It won't change the result. You treat me well and treat me as your daughter-in-law. I'll be filial to you and treat you as my mother." "Forget it. I don't want a daughter-in-law like you," Song Shiyu said. Baiya understood. "If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up." "Baiya, you want to marry into the Gu family. Don't you think your attitude is wrong? If Lingqing marries you, I will be your husband's mother. Your attitude will put your husband in a difficult position." Song Shiyu lectured in the manner of an elder. "You threatened me from the very beginning, telling me not to forget what happened 3 years ago. It's already polite of me to talk to you now. You just said that there is no such thing as a daughter-in-law like me. Since you don't want to acknowledge me, why should I acknowledge you? Also, it's not me who's making things difficult for Gu Lingqing, it's you. In addition, you are filled with disgust, disdain, and disdain towards me. This will not change because of my submissiveness. Instead, it will only become worse because of my compromise. If that happens, I will live in a shadow for the rest of my life. I've even let myself down. How can I let others down?" "I'm sorry, but I don't want you to struggle at death's door and bow and scrape," Baiya said coldly. 3 years ago, she learned the importance of power. Crying and pitiful to gain sympathy, but the dominant power was in the hands of others. Sometimes, when others wanted to target you, they wouldn't stop just because you were miserable. Then she would protect herself. 3 years ago, Baiya was so weak that she couldn't do anything even if she was killed by Song Shiyu and Gu Tianhang. Now, she wouldn't be as cowardly as she was 3 years ago. "You insist on marrying my son, right?" Song Shiyu was also angry. "What do you think?" Baiya just asked back. 3 years ago, I thought you were a good girl. It seems that I misjudged you. If I knew you were such a person, I wouldn't have been merciful," Song Shiyu said angrily. "It doesn't matter to me at all. I don't care. That's all right. I'm hanging up." Baiya hung up the phone before Song Shiyu said anything. Although she said that she didn't care, she still cared about it. After all, that person was Gu Lingqing's mother, the mother of the man that she loved. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing looked forward expressionlessly. "I'm sorry, I don't get along well with your mother." Gu Lingqing's eyes were deep. Part of Baiya's past information was erased. His parents tried everything to stop him from investigating the past. He guessed what his parents had done. 3 years ago, my parents kidnapped you and used you to force me to marry Su Shaoling, right? Gu Lingqing asked coldly. Your parents thought that you should marry someone better. Maybe they did it out of love for you. Baiya said and looked out of the window. She didn't want to sow discord between Gu Lingqing and his parents. They chopped off your little finger, And I also chopped off my own little finger. They used self-mutilation to force my parents to compromise. In the end, I only got engaged to Su Xiaoling, Gu Lingqing guessed. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing. Back then, the main reason why Gu Tianhang forced Gu Lingqing to marry Su Xiaoling was that Su Zheng had something on Gu Tianhang. In everyone's heart, they didn't want their parents to be bad. She kept this reason in her heart. It wasn't that she was noble, but she didn't want the man she loved to be sad. Everything is in the past now. Can we be considered to have seen the moon after the clouds have parted? Baiya said with a smile and changed the topic. Gu Lingqing held Baiya's hand and looked at her without saying a word. He was a man of few words, but there were thousands of words in his eyes. Unknowingly, they arrived at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Before we get married, you can ask for anything. Gu Lingqing held her hand and said, I only have one request. Baiya thought about it carefully. Gu Lingqing looked at her and asked, What is it? If I ask for a divorce one day, I hope that you can agree. A military marriage can't be divorced, which means that the one who isn't a soldier can't ask for a divorce. However, you can ask for a divorce. Can you agree to it? Baiya looked at him and said. Gu Lingqing frowned and his heart tightened. His eyes darkened, as if he had fallen into a frozen lake and felt uncomfortable. You haven't gotten married yet and you're already thinking about a divorce? Everyone who is preparing to get married has never thought about a divorce. However, when it's time for a divorce, they don't think about remarrying. Because when they get married, most people think about the good of the other party. When they get divorced, most people think about the bad of the other party. I think it's better to be more rational before getting married. It'll help the stability of the marriage. What do you think? Baiya tried to persuade Gu Lingqing. I think you're too cold sometimes, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. She didn't think the word cold was a good word when it came from his mouth. Perhaps she was cold enough. People who had never experienced love and kinship were born to be so cold. Baiya's lips twitched in self-mockery. Why don't? Chapter 198. I've already noted this down. Don't mention it again in the future. Gu Lingqing used a commanding tone. Since she had decided to get married, she had to forget all the unhappy factors today. Baiya nodded and smiled. Let's go, dear Mr. Gu. Are you still Mr. Gu? Gu Lingqing was dissatisfied with this title. She was not willing to marry him after all. Then my husband? Baiya asked tentatively. Gu Lingqing slightly raised the corner of his mouth. That's okay. Let's go. Gu Lingqing held her hand and walked to the Civil Affairs Bureau. The morning sun was not strong. It fell on the two of them, and their shadows folded together. Baiya realized that Gu Lingqing was actually nervous. His palms were sweaty, and his palms were sticky when holding hers. He walked in, looked around, and walked to the window. Hello, you're here to get married, Gu Lingqing said to the staff at the window. Makeup is not allowed. You have to pay $9. 90. Is the girl pregnant? If not, you have to go through a routine gynecological examination. In addition, do you have a prenuptial agreement? Do you need to do a property appraisal? The staff was an impatient person and said a lot of things. If you're not pregnant, you don't need a prenuptial agreement or a property appraisal, Gu Lingqing said. The staff pushed up his black-rimmed glasses and looked at Gu Lingqing. Baiya didn't say anything. He handed the ID and the residence booklet to the staff. Gu Lingqing also handed over the ID. He could have handed over his military ID, but he didn't want to be too conspicuous, so he just handed over an ordinary ID and residence booklet. The staff thought that Gu Lingqing was quite handsome. She took a few more glances to see if he was a celebrity who came to get married. She had first-hand information. What's wrong? Gu Lingqing asked in confusion. Nothing. The staff lowered his head. She mainly wanted to check if she was registered as unmarried on the computer and if the number on the ID card was the same as the number on the household register. Baiya craned his neck to look at the photo on Gu Lingqing's ID card. Generally speaking, people's ID cards will be very ugly. Yours is not bad. Has it been processed? Baiya asked jokingly. Gu Lingqing cleared his throat and lowered his voice. Be serious. Baiya, how was she not serious? It was just that Gu Lingqing was very serious. After getting married, she acted as if she was facing a great enemy. Her expression was serious, meticulous, and serious. You have to smile when taking photos, Baiya reminded. Before Gu Lingqing could say anything, the impatient staff reminded, don't show your teeth when taking photos. Baiya was amused by the staff and giggled. The staff rolled her eyes at Baiya. Go inside for the premarital checkup. Pay for the groom. Baiya walked inside. The words, premarital checkup, were written on the door frame. Gu Lingqing took out 10 yuan from his wallet and passed it to the staff. We have a 9999 package. Do you want it? The staff recommended. What's a 999 package? Gu Lingqing was confused. It was his first time getting married in his life. He did not know anything. The 999 package allows you to leave your fingerprint and bring it back as a souvenir. It's very meaningful, the staff explained. Okay. Gu Lingqing was easy to talk to. He took out 1,000 yuan from his wallet and passed it to the staff. The staff happily took the money and gave Gu Lingqing a change of 1 yuan. Gu Lingqing then put it into the convenient merit box. Are you a celebrity? The staff asked nosily. No, Gu Lingqing replied seriously. Oh, you'll definitely be popular if you become a celebrity. You're so good-looking, the staff exclaimed. Gu Lingqing. When Baiya came out of the premarital checkup room, he saw Gu Lingqing sitting on the sofa and staring at the window without blinking. Baiya followed his gaze and saw a man and a woman standing at the window. What's wrong? Baiya asked. They're here for a divorce. Look, they're not smiling. It means that divorce isn't a happy thing for them, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice and looked at Baiya. Don't mention divorce to me again. Baiya, let's go in and take photos. Gu Lingqing dragged Baiya to the photography room. The photography room was simple. There were 2 chairs opposite the camera. Baiya and Gu Lingqing sat on them. Get closer, the cameraman said. Baiya leaned towards Gu Lingqing. Closer, the cameraman said again. Baiya leaned towards Gu Lingqing. Closer. The cameraman was adjusting the distance between them. Gu Lingqing pressed Baiya's head and leaned towards him. Move your hands away, the cameraman said in a good mood. Baiya burst into laughter. Gu Lingqing also raised a smile. It was one of the brightest smiles he had ever had in his life. All right, do you want to make hand masks? Go ahead and get your marriage certificate after you're done, the cameraman reminded them. Baiya and Gu Lingqing went out. The staff at the window was waiting for them at the door and took them to make hand masks. The hand mask model was a finished one. It was in the shape of a pink heart and was made of composite plastic. There were roses on the side. The staff tore off a layer of tempered film on the surface of the model. Just put your hands on it. Gu Lingqing and Baiya put their hands on it together. This needs to be dried in the dryer. It will take about 5 minutes. Wait here. The staff took the model out. Are there so many things now? Baiya asked casually. Gu Lingqing thought of Baiya's marriage. He felt a little unbalanced in his heart. It was an indescribable strange feeling. Yes, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Oh. Baiya understood. No wonder there were so many things. 5 minutes later, the staff came over and handed a red gift bag to Gu Lingqing. He said, model, marriage certificate, household register. Your ID cards and a set of gifts from the Civil Affairs Bureau are all inside. When you go back, live a good life. The way a husband and wife get along is in their looks. As long as you don't cheat, gamble, or take drugs, there's nothing you can't do. Thank you. Baiya nodded. The staff glanced at Baiya and left. Baiya took out the marriage certificate. In the photo of the marriage certificate, she and Gu Lingqing were both smiling. They looked very happy. She remembered her previous marriage certificate. At that time, she had forced Su Jiran to marry her. Su Jiran had a look of disdain on his face as he glared at the camera angrily. On the other hand, she was unhappy and pursed her lips. Chapter 199. If marriage was destined to be unlucky from the beginning, one should never climb into the grave, because when he climbed out, he would definitely be covered in injuries and exhausted. She and Gu Lingqing had a good start, and she hoped that there would be a good ending. One for you, one for me. Keep it safe. Baya happily put her ID card, household register, and marriage certificate into her bag. Gu Lingqing looked at her bright eyes and white teeth, and his heart softened a little. This woman, who was a stranger at the beginning, had now become his wife, a woman that he needed to protect and take care of for the rest of his life. As long as he thought that she had become his wife, the corner of his mouth slightly curled up. Shouldn't we keep it together? Baya smiled, took out her marriage certificate and put it in the gift bag. Sorry to trouble you, husband. Gu Lingqing cleared his throat and replied seriously, It's no trouble at all. Baya laughed happily. She still remembered the time when she first met him. She asked a lot of questions, and he also looked like he was now answering them one by one seriously. Actually, Gu Lingqing hadn't changed, but she had changed a lot. Baya laughed and tears flowed out. Gu Lingqing frowned. What's wrong? Baya hugged Gu Lingqing and buried her face in his arms. Her voice was choked. The dream you had was right. I really looked for you. I looked for you for a long time. Gu Lingqing's eyes darkened, and he gently placed his hand on her back. Baya, I'm back. Baya wiped her tears. I've always wanted to find my past memories, but the more I want to find them, the more tired I feel. Now that I have you, I won't force my lost memories. The doctor also said that I might come back at any time, Gu Lingqing explained. I'll try to help you with hypnosis. Gu Lingqing rubbed her face. There's a long way to go. There's no hurry. We still have a lot of urgent things to do first. All right. I'll send you to the research institute now. Take the documents and come to the military in the afternoon. I can ask Lu Shuang to cooperate with you. You two sisters must have endless things to talk about when you're together. Our wedding is already in preparation. I'll let you know when it's ready. Baya remembered that she still owed Su Jieran lunch. It was better to make things clear between her and Su Jieran. Besides, she and Gu Lingqing were already married. It was time for Su Jieran to give up. I can go by myself. I still have something to tell Mu Shaoxing. I will have lunch with them at noon and arrive at the military region at 2 p.m. Baya refused Gu Lingqing's kindness. Gu Lingqing remained silent and fixed his eyes on Baya. What's wrong? Baya asked guiltily. You should enjoy the service of your husband. I hope that you will accept it. If you refuse me, I will feel that there's a distance between us. It's a distance from here to the research institute. I'll send you there, Gu Lingqing confessed. All right then. She nodded. He took her to the research institute. Baya stared straight ahead, enjoying the peace and tranquility in her heart at this moment. Call me half an hour before the end of the meal. I'll send someone to pick you up, Gu Lingqing said. Baya turned her head to look at Gu Lingqing. The sunlight outside the window fell on his resolute face. He was so handsome that it took one's breath away. In the past, she didn't want to trouble others. What he said just now had woken her up. Now, he was her husband. It wasn't trouble. Instead, it was letting him into her life. She didn't treat him as an outsider anymore. All right, I'll call you half an hour before the end of the meal. See you in the afternoon, Baya said gently. I like the food you cook. It's better than what the orderlies cook, Gu Lingqing suddenly said. Baya smiled. If you like the food I cook, I'll cook for you every day. All right. The time that the two of them spent together passed very quickly. Even if they didn't say anything, they wouldn't feel bored. Gu Lingqing saw the research institute from afar. She subconsciously slowed down. Baya looked at the yard number. It had changed from 60 to 40. Although it was slow, there was a warm feeling in her heart. It warmed up the time at this moment. However, no matter how slow she was, they had already reached the building of the research institute. Do you need me to send you up? Gu Lingqing asked, looking at her reluctantly. Baya smiled. Then do you want to move here and work together? We can be Siamese. Don't joke around. Gu Lingqing's expression turned serious. Baya kissed him on the cheek. Hubby, I'm going to work. See you in the afternoon. Gu Lingqing looked at her with a burning gaze. He enjoyed her initiative. Let's go up. Okay, let's go. Baya got out of the car and closed the door for Gu Lingqing. She walked upstairs and didn't notice Su Jiaran, who was standing at the window and looking at them. Su Jiaran's expression was very bad. It was as cold as December. His face was frozen and emitted a sharp aura. He remembered that Baya had slept with Gu Lingqing and the child. His heart was wrenched. It was very painful, sour and bitter. He was very jealous. He was so jealous that he was going crazy. Baya was his woman. When did he lose her? He wanted her back. It seemed that it was time to take action. Baya walked upstairs. Su Jiaran stood in front of her. He didn't look good. He saw the diamond ring on her finger. He grabbed Baya's wrist and raised it up. The diamond was very big and bright. It shone brightly in his eyes. Su Jiaran's devilish eyes cracked. He asked, "You agreed to his proposal? He only has Zhou Hailan in his heart. Don't you know that?" Baya was very calm. "I didn't agree to his proposal. I'm already married to him. I even got the marriage certificate. I'll invite you on the day of the banquet." "Are you crazy?" Su Jiaran flung Baya's hand away. He held her shoulders tightly. "Gu Lingqing doesn't love you at all. I'll decide whether I love him or not. I don't need others to tell me what to do," Baya said coldly and pushed Su Jiaran's hand away. "You're married to him. What about me? Baya, can't you see what I've done for you for the past 3 years? I love you. I've turned over a new leaf. I've stopped contacting any other women. You're the only one in my heart. Don't you believe that you're the only one I love?" Su Jiaran said. He looked at Baya with a pleading tone. "I already know why you provoked me back then." Baya stared straight at Su Jiaran. "It's because he's your father that I showed mercy. For you, I can let go of my hatred. Don't leave me. I'm the one who loves you the most." Su Jiaran frowned. "Now I love him. Sooner or later, you'll be heavily wounded by him. Believe me, Baya, if you go back on your word now, you probably haven't entered the archives of the Civil Affairs Bureau yet. There's still time. I can think of a way to revoke it." Chapter 200. Baya was shocked. She turned around and looked at Gu Lingqing. He had one hand in his pocket and his steps were heavy. He walked up the stairs step by step and looked at Su Jiaran with a strong gaze. His body was shrouded in an imposing manner. Su Jiaran narrowed his eyes and glared at him, his eyes filled with hatred. "You can't give Baya happiness," Su Jiaran said directly. Gu Lingqing walked to Baya and put his arm around Baya's waist. He pulled Baya to his side and announced his ownership. "It's not up to you to decide whether I can give her happiness or not. Don't you think you're just saying that the grapes are sour because you can't eat them?" Su Jiaran gritted his teeth. "I'm not going to argue with you." He walked past Gu Lingqing and walked towards the stairs. Gu Lingqing turned around and looked at him condescendingly. "Mr. Su, I won't interfere with my wife's right to make friends, but there's a limit to everything. If some people have wild ambitions, I'll have to use extreme measures." When Gu Lingqing said this, he hugged Baya a little tighter. "Extreme measures?" Su Jiaran smiled. He was not afraid at all. On the contrary, his eyes were full of mockery. "You can't get love if you're strong, Baya." Su Jiaran looked at Baya. "Don't forget that you promised to have lunch with him at noon. I'll contact you at noon." Gu Lingqing looked at Baya coldly and frowned. "You promised to have lunch with him at noon? When did you promise? Why didn't I know about it?" Baya's eyes flickered. She was thinking about what to say. Su Jiaran answered for her. "To be exact, I agreed to it last night." Gu Lingqing frowned even more. "Did you agree to have lunch with him before or after I proposed?" Baya guessed that Gu Lingqing was overthinking. Did he think that she agreed to have a meal with Su Jiaran because she wanted to develop her relationship with Su Jiaran? She was not going to take the blame for this. Baya explained, "I have something to tell him, so I made an appointment to meet. If you want to get to the bottom of it, he is blocking Mu Xiaoxing's case. I only agreed to eat with him in a compromise way. Baya told the truth and looked at Su Jiran. However, Su Jiran left through the stairs. Perhaps the scene of Baya and Gu Lingqing standing together was too beautiful for him to look at. Gu Lingqing looked more relaxed than before. He's your ex-husband and he's chasing after you. He even asked you to cancel the marriage with me. If we weren't married, you would have the right to be pursued. Now that you're my wife, shouldn't you deliberately avoid it? Baya, I'm a human being, not a god. I have 7 emotions and 6 desires, and I'm a normal man. You eat with another man behind my back, and he is your ex-husband, and he even wants to meet your ex-husband who wants to remarry you. I will also be jealous. Gu Lingqing lectured Baya. He said it seriously, but his jealousy was flying. She felt embarrassed. I know. If he asks me out next time, I'll refuse. Baya promised. There's a next time? Gu Lingqing's voice became sharp, but Baya felt warm in her heart. She liked the feeling of being valued and cared for by him. He asked me out, so he has the initiative. I can't do anything about it. But I'll refuse. I think I've already told him what I should say, Baya explained. Gu Lingqing nodded and didn't keep staring at her question. Go to Mu Xiaoxing's office and get the documents. Let's go to the military area. We don't have to stay outside to eat. There's food in the military area. Gu Lingqing said overbearingly. Got it. Baya walked towards Mu Xiaoxing's office. She knocked on the door and pushed it open. When Mu Xiaoxing saw Baya, it was as if he had seen his savior. Baya, you came just in time. Please save me. I'm still at my wits' end about this case. I promised Deputy General Manager Su that the time to solve the case is tomorrow. Baya walked in and sat opposite Mu Xiaoxing. She asked, What's the information you got from the forensics department and the police station? Mu Xiaoxing handed all the information to Baya. Unimaginable, unimaginable. Mu Xiaoxing repeatedly sighed. When collecting, the evidence was badly damaged. There's very little useful information, and the time of death can't be determined. There's one piece of information. Tony was cut very neatly by a sharp weapon. The cut was so neat that it made people's hair stand on end. It didn't look like a human being, but more like a machine. However, the surveillance camera didn't record Tony leaving Su Xiaoling's room. Su Xiaoling said that she was very angry at that time. She wanted to kill Tony, but she didn't have the courage to do it. She asked Tony to leave, but Tony shamelessly refused to leave. He wanted to have sex with Su Xiaoling. Su Xiaoling was so angry that she left. Mu Xiaoxing pushed his glasses and scratched his head. You said that Su Xiaoling left before Tony? Baya heard something strange. After she left, did she go back? Mu Xiaoxing shook his head. The video did capture Su Xiaoling leaving, but it didn't capture her coming back. Don't you think it's strange? There's nothing strange about it. This situation is very simple. Gu Lingqing's voice sounded. Baya looked behind him. Gu Lingqing also walked in. Why you here? Baya asked. You took too long to take a document, Gu Lingqing said confidently. Baya, Mu Xiaoxing saw that another big shot had come and immediately nodded. 2 big shots came to his place in one day. It was really an honor to have 2 big shots here. Then what does the chief mean? Why don't you think it's strange? Mu Xiaoxing asked respectfully. Tony has a strong body. He used to be an extreme sports enthusiast. He often participated in group activities such as parkour. Su Xiaoling's rented house is on the 3rd floor. The height of the 3rd floor is easy for an extreme athlete. So, he can jump out of the window and go anywhere, Gu Lingqing explained. A place, Gu Lingqing explained. He dismembered the body. First, it's convenient to dispose of the body. Second, he has a deep hatred for Tony. Before Gu Lingqing finished, Mu Xiaoxing interrupted. Yes. Not only did he throw the body into the toilet, but he also stuffed Tony's penis into his mouth. Then it's easy to investigate. Tony has syphilis and has infected many people. The person who killed him is also a patient. Next, I think Baya will give you a much clearer answer than me. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya. Tony had syphilis and infected many people. The person who killed him was also a patient. Next, I think Baiya will give you a much clearer answer than I did. Gu Lingqing looked at Baiya. Mu Shaoxing also looked at Baiya. Chapter 201. Baiya, I'm curious. How did you determine that the murderer wasn't alone? Also, how did you determine that the family conditions were ordinary? How could you infer that it was a former girlfriend? What's your basis? Tony was 190 centimeters tall and weighed 170 centimeters. Do you think a person could carry his body? Besides, the location of the corpse run was very remote. It was a public toilet in an old neighborhood. The location of this public toilet was also very remote. Even cars couldn't enter. The murderer was very familiar with the terrain. He could even know when there was no one around. Even if he met someone, his appearance might not be suspicious. Do you think a rich person would appear in such a remote public toilet? Tony was a diamond star. The women who dated him were either rich or expensive. There were also beautiful women like Su Shaoling. Every bullet he fired was very valuable. He wouldn't waste it on women. Then, there was another kind of woman that he was willing to waste his bullets on. She was either still in love or abandoned. Anyway, it must be a woman he dated before. As for the cutting equipment, if it was someone else's, it would be too bold of them to use it to cut the body. Besides, the corpse was stored in an ordinary black plastic bag. Most people wouldn't have this kind of plastic bag unless they were selling fish or meat. Such shops would give them to them. Baiya analyzed methodically. You only suspect that it was 2 people. Could it be more than 2 people? Mu Shaoxing guessed. Impossible. First of all, it would be difficult for anyone to talk about that disease. Second, it was his ex-girlfriend. Her circle was actually a bit far away from Tony's. It was unlikely that she would come into contact with Tony's diamond clients. So, it was impossible for her to cooperate with a diamond client. Mu Shaoxing listened to Baiya's words and suddenly understood. Baiya, this is criminal psychology. You even learned this? You're too awesome. No wonder you're so famous in the circle. Mu Shaoxing praised. Please do your work. Gu Lingqing reminded Mu Shaoxing. Mu Shaoxing looked at Gu Lingqing. Suddenly, he remembered that there was still something he hadn't done. He said to Baiya, this morning, the relevant department sent a document. I haven't read it yet. Relevant departments? Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing. I'll go and see what it is later. I'm too busy with Tony's case. I'm not in the mood to read it. Mu Shaoxing flipped through the documents. Gu Lingqing. Mu Shaoxing saw the stamp of the special military region at the bottom of the document and did not dare to say anything. He looked at Gu Lingqing guiltily and handed the document to Baiya. Thank you for this case. Mu Shaoxing laughed dryly. I'll contact you later. Baiya took the document and put it in her bag. We'll go first, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice, turned around, and walked out of Mu Shaoxing's office. Mu Shaoxing waves to Baiya. You can call me if you need anything. I promised you, and I won't go back on my word. I'm doing psychological tests for the soldiers in the military, so I still have time to help you, Baiya said. Well, thank you, Baiya. Baiya followed Gu Lingqing out of the research institute and got into his car. He asked darkly, what did you promise Mu Shaoxing again? Baiya took a deep breath and said without hiding anything, 3 years ago, I wanted to go to a famous university abroad to study psychology. I asked Mu Shaoxing to do it. He paid for all the expenses. We agreed that I would work for him for a few years after I returned to China. Mu Shaoxing is kind and generous. He doesn't need me to work for him, but I can't forget my roots. I made an agreement with him to help him with 20 psychological counseling cases. Mu Shaoxing is a big tree that attracts the wind. His reputation is too great, so many police stations will ask him for help. In fact, psychological research is divided into many kinds. Criminal psychology is a clearly distinguished subject. I happened to learn it when I was abroad, so I can help him. He should specially recruit this kind of expert, Gu Lingqing suggested. In our country, people who specialize in this field will go to the police station. Now, with the outbreak of more and more psychological problems, many departments are paying attention to it. Basically, there will be such people in the police station. If the police station finds Mu Shaoxing, it means that with their current ability, they can't solve it. So, as the dean of the research institute, Mu Shaoxing must find an expert in the industry. Otherwise, it will be meaningless, Bai Ye explained. Gu Lingqing paused for a while. What were you going to do after you accepted the 20 tasks? Open a psychological clinic and see 1 or 2 patients a day. It's enough to maintain my glamorous life. My consultation fees abroad are very high, Bai Ye said lightly. You and Mu Shaoxing are in the same line. He agreed? Gu Lingqing was surprised. Bai Ye raised the corner of his mouth. He mainly targets enterprises, institutions, and civilians. His research institute will have a lot of subsidies from the state. So, if the police station wants people, he must give them. I'm different. The people who come to see me are either rich or respectable. Ordinary people look down on me. So, I actually don't have any competition with him. Of course, if he can't handle it, he will transfer it to me. If they need my help, I will not refuse. Will you have any business? If not, I can use the name of the military to hire you, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. I don't like to be restricted. I want freedom. Freedom is good. I can do whatever I want. Gu Lingqing looked at her deeply. It's up to you if you like it. If you don't want to work, it's okay. I will support you. Bai Ye smiled knowingly. Women still needed to be independent financially. They needed something to do. They shouldn't put 100% of their heart on their husband. Her husband would feel suffocated and she would be unhappy. She would feel neglected for small things. If the relationship was too tense, it would break up. She should do her own things. Even if one day their relationship broke up and her husband didn't want her, at least she still had a job and a career. They returned to the military base. The orderly brought over 3 dishes and a soup. There were shredded pork, sweet and sour pork ribs, tomato and eggs, and black-bone chicken soup. Let's do it at 3 in the afternoon. I will gather some people to help you with the psychological plan. Is that okay? Gu Lingqing asked. Yes, it's okay. You need to have some understanding of the structure of the military. I will give you the information later. Bai Ye nodded. Lieutenant Colonel Song came over nervously. Gu Lingqing looked at him. What's wrong? Chief, I have something to tell you. Lieutenant Colonel Song lowered his head with a troubled expression. Bai Ye looked at Gu Lingqing and walked over. She didn't want to listen to their military information. She lowered her head and ate. After listening to Lieutenant Colonel Song's report, Gu Lingqing was shocked. He was too excited that his hands were trembling. Chapter 202. Bai Ye nodded. He left in a hurry, clenching his fists and furrowing his brows. His eyes were misty. Bai Ye was a little worried about him. His expression was very abnormal. She walked to the window and watched as Gu Lingqing strode out. He didn't even see the soldiers greet him as he got into the car. Because Gu Lingqing left in a hurry, he didn't give her the information. She didn't know if Gu Lingqing still had time for the meeting in the afternoon to discuss the psychological test plan. After eating, she lay on the bed and played with her phone. Mu Shaoxing called. Bai Ye answered, What's wrong, Shaoxing? Bai Ye, you're really good at predicting things. We've already caught Tony's ex-girlfriend. Their family owns a raw meat processing factory. She confessed to killing Tony. She and Tony used to be a couple, but her parents didn't like Tony, so she broke up with him. She married her current husband and had a son. Then, Tony hooked up with her and they rekindled their relationship. She didn't expect Tony to have syphilis and he infected her, and she infected her husband. Her husband flew into a rage out of humiliation and started a murder plan. That day, Tony left Su Xiaoling's place and received a call for a date. She said that her husband wasn't at home and asked him to go to her house. She even made Tony drink alcohol mixed with drugs. Tony fainted and they put him in the freezer to freeze him to death. They're cutting him up with machines, Mu Shaoxing narrated. What about their child? Isn't he an orphan now? Bai Ya's heart ached for this innocent child. This child is Tony's after a DNA test. When we found her, the child had already been frozen to death by her husband, Mu Shaoxing said sadly. After hanging up, Bai Ya felt a little sad. People should never do anything wrong. Otherwise, if they didn't take revenge now, there would be retribution in the future. If Tony's girlfriend didn't despise him and they got married, it would still be Tony's. Tony wasn't emotionally affected and had a partner he loved deeply. He might not have gone down the path of a male prostitute. Tony's girlfriend shouldn't have married her current husband with someone else's child. No man could tolerate his wife having another man's child. Just like she did in the past. If she hadn't insisted on giving birth to the child wouldn't have become a permanent pain in her heart. Bai Ya's mood became bad. She knew that she couldn't let her imagination run wild anymore. Otherwise, her illness would act up again. She turned on her computer, ready to do some homework and divert her thoughts. A text message rang. She subconsciously took a look at it. It was a picture of Gu Lingqing. The clothes he was wearing were also what he was wearing today. He was hugging a girl tightly. Bai Ya's heart tightened as she clicked on the photo. Because Gu Lingqing was holding the girl, only Gu Lingqing's face and the girl's back could be seen. The girl was wearing a red long-sleeve dress. She was tall and thin, and her long hair was tied into a ponytail. Ding dong! The second message was sent. Bai Ya opened it. Gu Lingqing's eyes were filled with tears as he hugged the girl tightly. Bai Ya also cried, and tears flowed down her cheeks. The third photo was quickly sent. Gu Lingqing held the girl's shoulder and kissed the girl's forehead. In the fourth photo, Gu Lingqing carried the girl into his car. In the fifth photo, Gu Lingqing carried the girl to the hotel. The name of the hotel was Jiuzhou Interstellar Hotel. Another text message came. They are in the 2108 presidential suite of Jiuzhou Interstellar Hotel. If you want to stop anything, go quickly. Bai Ya threw her phone on the ground. It would take her at least an hour to get to Jiuzhou Interstellar Hotel. What could she stop? She couldn't stop anything. When her mind and body were no longer with her, would it be useful for her to stop them? She thought of her and Su Jiaran's wedding, Gu Lingqing's betrayal 3 years ago, and those photos. No wonder Gu Lingqing left in such a hurry. No wonder the things that had been arranged couldn't be done. Her heart was filled with overwhelming anger, grievance, and sadness. These flames rushed directly to her brain. She couldn't control the chaos in her mind. For a moment, she felt that she was still in the hellish marriage with Su Jiaran, lonely and helpless. For a moment, she felt that she was still in her Zhou Hailan time after Gu Lingqing's accident, and her heart was aching and she was about to despair. Gradually, she remembered that she had lived for more than 3 years. The man she fell in love with again still betrayed her body, and betrayed her heart. No one liked her, no one loved her, and no one would protect her. She was just a psychopath. Yes, she was not only a psychiatrist, but also a psychopath. She was hiding and numbing herself, but no matter how numb she was, she couldn't deceive herself. She was a psychopath, just like her mother. Bai Ya burst into tears. She threw the lamp, the vase, and the glass. She threw her computer, the bed sheets, the quilt, and everything that could be smashed and couldn't be smashed on the ground. Yesterday, she had just made love with Gu Lingqing on this bed. Now she felt extremely disgusted when she thought about it. The things were too messy. When she went to get the bonsai on the windowsill, she tripped herself and fell to the ground. The sharp porcelain pieces entered her flesh and blood. At that moment, it was very painful, and it hurt so much that her reason returned to her mind. Fresh blood flowed out. Bai Ya looked at the mess in the room and knew that her illness was acting up. Her tears were still flowing, and her heart was bleeding. If she died like this, would it be too ugly? Lu Shuang would be sad. Her mother would be helpless. Gu Lingqing would be filled with disgust and hatred whenever he mentioned her because she had died in his place, dirtying his things and adding to his troubles. She had to die, but not here. Bai Ya endured the pain and got up. The blood had dyed her clothes red. She unbuttoned her clothes and looked at her body. There were many wounds. Fortunately, only a porcelain piece broke her clothes and pierced into her flesh. Baya pulled out the porcelain piece, and the blood flowed faster. She chose a white dress from the suitcase, tore it, and tied up the wound. She couldn't let Gu Lingqing's orderly come in. Otherwise, the orderly would definitely tell Gu Lingqing. She still wanted to keep the last bit of her dignity. She didn't want anyone to know that she had a mental problem. She took out all the clothes in her suitcase, threw them on the sofa, and put all the pieces on the ground into the suitcase. She wiped the blood from the bed sheet and threw the bed sheet into the suitcase. Fortunately, the quilt was not stained with blood. She carried the quilt to the sofa. When she stood up, she began to feel dizzy because of the loss of blood. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.